Chapter 575. City Lord Jiang bottoms up. Cheers. Thousands of people stayed in the main hall, toasting and exchanging glasses, very happy. After a few rounds, many people were drunk and in a trance. City Lord Jiang, when can we see the nine-tailed celestial fox? Yeah, City Lord Jiang, we've been drinking for an hour. If I drink any more, I'm going to fall down. Such voices kept ringing. Hearing this, Jiang Qingming raised the corner of his mouth and waved his hand on the stage. In that case, I'll send someone to invite the nine-tailed celestial fox immediately, okay? Jiang Qingming's voice was leisurely and clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. When everyone heard this, their eyes lit up and their faces were full of joy. Good! They shouted in unison, causing the entire hall to buzz and tremble. Soon after, "She's here!" A cry of surprise sounded. Surrounded by a group of maids, a woman dressed in a red robe with an unearthly temperament came leisurely. Her delicate facial features could not be picked out a trace of fault. Her skin was like cream and it could be broken by blowing. Those eyes, at a glance, would make people lost in them and unable to extricate themselves. The most noticeable thing was the two fox ears on her head, which were drooping as if she had been wronged. The moment they saw this woman, everyone's eyes were focused on her. The whole scene was dead silent. Even Sun Hao, looking at this fox-eared woman, was slightly startled. Sun Hao had seen this woman before. "Hu Luadi?" Sun Hao murmured, his eyebrows wrinkled, and his face was puzzled. In the crowd in the entire hall, many people quietly took out their weapons and held them tightly in their hand. That appearance seemed like a group of soldiers waiting for orders. "Hello everyone, my name is Hu Luadi, nice to meet you all." The fox-eared woman stood on the stage, smiling at the crowd, and at the same time, throwing a coquettish look at everyone. This throw simply took the lives of the vast majority of men. Their hearts seemed to be clenched tightly, beating violently. "Hu Luadi, you're so beautiful, I love you. Hu Luadi, it's not a waste to see you in this life." A group of people gathered around like a groupie, enthusiastic and excited. If there were no guards guarding by the side, I'm afraid someone would rush to the stage. "Do it!" Suddenly, a loud shout rang out. Following that, men and women dressed in black turned into streaks of light and dashed toward the stage. Each of them exuded the aura of a god Dharch. The appearance of these people instantly stunned everyone in the hall. They raised their heads to look at the men and women in black. Their pupils constricted and their expressions changed drastically. These are demon thearchs. Oh my god, so many demon thearchs. This is too scary. What's going on? Why are they attacking the city lord together? At this moment, everyone stood rooted to the ground, unable to calm down. Their hearts beat violently as if they were about to jump out of their throat. Everyone's gaze followed the movements of these men and women in black. When Jiang Qingming saw this, a smile flashed across his face. Then, his figure slowly disappeared, as if he had never been there. "Get into formation!" The captain of the guards roared. This voice jolted all the guards awake. With halberds in their hands, they charged straight at the hundreds of men and women in black. However, in front of a God-Emperor-level expert, how could they be a match for him? Stab! The sound of metal piercing flesh and blood kept ringing. None of these guards could hold on for a breath, and they were all killed. Flesh and blood were shattered on the ground, and it was horrible to look at. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's expression. Many people's hearts sank to hell, and their bodies trembled violently. Especially the slightly fat man who had chatted with Sun Hao before. His whole body collapsed to the ground, cold sweat flowing. Fortunately, I didn't act rashly at the time. Otherwise, I would have been beheaded now. He looked at a man in black, and kept wiping the cold sweat on his forehead. "Luo Di, don't be afraid, I'm coming." The leader of the men in black stepped back, jumped up, and rushed straight to the stage. However, buzz! A barrier suddenly lit up on the stage, repelling the man in front of him. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the ground exploded into a crack. Boom! There was another loud noise, and the men and women in black who rushed to the front of the stage were repelled by the barrier and fell heavily to the ground. On the stage, the fox-eared woman looked at this scene, and 2 lines of tears slipped down from the corners of her eyes. "Brother, don't worry about me, run. It'll be too late if you wait any longer." The fox-eared woman shouted this sentence with a heart-wrenching voice. However, her voice was all isolated by the barrier and did not reach the outside at all. The leader of the men in black struggled to stand up, looking at the fox-eared woman's lips, and seemed to hear what she said. "Luodi, don't say it, I will save you. Today, whoever dares to stop me, I will kill them all." After the leader of the men in black finished speaking, he released his breath. The aura of the 9th grade Divine Emperor rushed out and enveloped the entire hall. At this moment, everyone felt like they had fallen into hell, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. One by one, they knelt on the ground, shivering. "Who?" The man stretched out his hand and tore it hard. His face was like a layer of mask being torn off, revealing his true appearance. On his head there were 2 fox ears. "Who, Luo Xian?" The moment he saw this man's face, Sun Hao couldn't help but be shocked. Unexpectedly, he could meet him here. In this way, the fox-eared woman in the formation was Hu Luodi? Sun Hao frowned, sitting in the hall, motionless. That expression was as if he was scared silly. "From today on, my 9-tailed celestial fox clan will no longer hide. If anyone dares to hit us, then give me your life?" Hu Luoxian's voice was faint, and his terrifying aura swept the entire hall. Wow! Under the leadership of Hu Luoxian, all the men and women in black tore off the masks on their faces and revealed their true faces. On each person's head there were 2 fox ears. As soon as this scene appeared, the entire hall was dead silent. After many people glanced at Hu Luoxian and the others from the corner of their eyes widened. 9-tailed celestial fox, all of them are 9-tailed celestial foxes, my God! Isn't it rare to see a 9-tailed celestial fox? How come I see so many at once? So many monster emperors, we're finished, run. Panicked voices resounded throughout the hall. Many people were awakened, struggled to stand up, and fled out of the hall. However, boom, there were loud noises, one after another. The entire hall was shrouded in a barrier. They hit the barrier and were bounced back heavily. Everyone stopped and stood in place, their faces changing. What's going on? Are we trapped here? City Lord, where's City Lord Jiang? Why is he gone? I have a bad feeling that we're dead. It's over, this banquet is a shocking conspiracy. What should we do? Who will save us? The cry for help resounded throughout the hall. The hall instantly fell into chaos. Chapter 576. Hu Luoxian's right hand turned into a claw, aimed at the barrier on the stage, and clawed down. Swoosh, a light flashed, and a terrifying aura instantly arrived. Cracks began to appear on the barrier, and then it began to crack open. Phew! Hu Luoxian jumped onto the stage, and held the fox-eared lady. Luodi, I'm coming. Don't worry, I'll get you out of here. Hu Luoxian looked determined. The fox-eared lady heard this, and kept shaking her head. Brother, you're so silly, you're so silly. We're finished, we're all finished. The fox-eared lady's face was bitter, like a wooden chicken. Luodi, what nonsense are you talking about? I'm here, no one can bully you. After that, Hu Luoxian hugged the fox-eared lady tightly and ran off the stage. The fox-eared lady's mouth curled up, and a hint of killing intent flashed. She fell into Hu Luoxian's arms, stretched out her hands, and gently placed them on Hu Luoxian's shoulders. Suddenly, the fox-eared lady's eyes flashed, and her 2 palms suddenly turned into claws, and pressed down on Hu Luoxian's shoulders. This sudden scene was so fast that no one could react. Hee, the fox-eared lady sneered. In the next second she could hear the sound of the shoulder exploding. However, Phew, the two claws grabbed down, but missed. Hu Luoxian's figure had already appeared 100 meters away. The fox-eared lady was startled, and a hint of surprise appeared on her face. Interesting? You can actually find out that I'm not your sister? The fox-eared lady's figure changed, and instantly turned into a coquettish lady. How would my sister imitate you? Full of loopholes, how would I not know? Hu Luoxian snorted. If that's the case, then why do you still stand out? The coquettish lady asked. Since you can transform into her appearance, then you must have seen her. Speak, where is my sister locked up by you? Hu Luoxian looked at the coquettish lady, and his voice was cold. What if I don't say? The coquettish lady asked. Then die. Her voice was cold, and contained a strong killing intent. Oh Langjun, you're so cruel. We just hugged and you actually want to kill me. Woo! The seductive woman squeezed out a few drops of tears and pretended to cry. However, such a scene was useless to Hu Luoxian. Humph! Hu Luoxian arrived in the blink of an eye. He extended his claws and pounced at the coquettish woman. Swish! Every claw tore through space, causing explosions to ring out. Looking at Hu Luoxian's claws, the gorgeous woman's expression changed drastically. You've actually cultivated the nine-tailed celestial fox clan's insulating claw to this level? The coquettish woman looked extremely serious. She took out a sharp blade and moved her body to block Hu Luoxian's attack. Ding! For a time, the sound of metal clashing rang out continuously. Waves of chi continuously howled in all directions. Kacha, even with the protection of the formation, cracks still appeared on the ground. The terrifying might caused the expressions of the onlookers to change greatly. Their bodies continuously shrank back as they trembled. The two of them fought fiercely on the stage, and no one could approach them. Boom! There was an explosion. The dagger in the woman's hand shattered into pieces. A wave of air blasted the coquettish woman back, and she fell to the ground. For a while, she did not struggle to get up. Are you going to say it or not? Hu Luoxian looked at the coquettish woman, and said in a cold voice. He walked toward her step by step. Above his claws, a chilling light was exuding. The coquettish woman struggled to get up. She wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and revealed a smile. The insulating claw really lives up to its reputation. However, do you think it's possible to save Hu Luoxi with this? The coquettish woman looked at Hu Luoxian and sneered. In the next second, her expression stagnated. Looking up, she saw that Hu Luoxian had already stood in front of her. He raised his hand and slapped down. Boom! A slap slapped the coquettish woman's face hard. Her body flew upside down and hit the ground heavily, falling with a dusty face. She struggled for a long time and did not stand up. Half of her face was directly torn by Hu Luoxian. The miserable scene was unbearable to look at. Even if she spoke, her mouth was leaking air, and she could not hear it clearly. She pointed at Hu Luoxian and spoke for a long time, but there was no complete sentence. Are you going to say it or not? Hu Luoxian stepped out and instantly stood in front of the coquettish woman and said coldly. The coquettish woman's body twitched, and the half of her face that was torn actually recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than a moment, it was restored to its original state. Her body stood up straight and looked at Hu Luoxian, revealing a cold smile. Haha, kid, even if I say it, you won't be able to escape from here. The Lord will be here soon. At that time, it will be too late for you to kneel and beg for mercy. The coquettish woman said. Humph, since you won't say it, then I'll kill you first. After saying that, Hu Luoxian grabbed the coquettish woman's neck with one hand. Like pinching a chicken, no matter how she struggled, it was futile. Die. He stretched out his claws, aimed at the coquettish woman's head and fell. Ding! There was no expected scene of the head cracking. There was only a sound of metal colliding. Hu Luoxian's pupils shrank and his face changed slightly. When he was about to turn around, he couldn't help but stagnate. All the hairs on his body stood up, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. An indescribable coercion enveloped his whole body. Everyone in the entire hall fell to the ground uncontrollably, shivering. This is the coercion of the demon saint, my God. It's over, the demon saint has descended, who can be its opponent? Could it be that all of this was set up by the demon saint? Voices of despair sounded from many people's mouths. No matter how they struggled, it was difficult to stand up for a while. Soon after, the coercion that pressed on everyone stopped abruptly. Everyone recovered and looked up at the central platform of the hall. Their pupils shrank and their faces changed slightly. Only to see. On the platform there were suddenly two more people. One of them was a white-bearded old man. The other person was the city lord, Jiang Qingming. Jiang Qingming stood behind the white-bearded old man with a respectful face. Lord Li, look, these are all nine-tailed celestial foxes, are you satisfied with them? Jiang Qingming pointed to Hu Luoxian and the others and asked. Not bad. Speaking of this, the white-bearded old man's face flashed with anger. However, my son died in your territory, how are you going to deal with it? Hearing this, Jiang Qingming broke into a cold sweat. He bowed deeply to the white-bearded old man. Lord Li, don't worry, I will catch the murderer and give the young master an explanation. Catch? The white-bearded old man snorted coldly. Within 3 months, if you don't catch the murderer, bring your head to me, understand? Yes, Lord. Chapter 577. Listening to their conversation, Hu Luoxian glanced at the white-bearded old man. It seems that you are the behind-the-scenes mastermind who arranged all this? Release my sister, or I will kill her. Hu Luoxian grabbed the coquettish woman's neck and said coldly. The white-bearded old man swept his eyes and stared at Hu Luoxian. A terrifying pressure followed his gaze and pressed onto Hu Luoxian's body in an instant. At this moment, Hu Luoxian's body seemed to be pressed by several giant mountains, and for a while it was difficult to move. Hu Luoxian clenched his teeth and used all his strength, but it was useless. In front of the demon saint, he was like an ant, without the slightest struggle. Kid, are you talking to me? The white-bearded old man said lightly. The voice was not loud, but the power was extremely terrifying. With this sound, Hu Luoxian's hand on the coquettish woman's neck loosened uncontrollably. Boom! The woman fell on the stage and breathed for a long time to recover. She quickly ran in front of the white-bearded old man and knelt down. Greetings, my lord. Humph, you can't even do such a small thing, step down. The white-bearded old man said. Yes, my lord. The coquettish woman quickly retreated to the side. Hu Luoxian looked at the white-bearded old man and struggled with all his might. But it didn't work at all. The white-bearded old man looked at Hu Luoxian and said lightly. If it weren't for the fact that you are a nine-tailed celestial fox, you would have died 10,000 times. You are a rare treasure, I can't bear to hurt you. At this point, the white-bearded old man waved his right hand. All the nine-tailed celestial foxes flew out uncontrollably and were all imprisoned on the stage. No matter how they struggled, it was of no use. 485, not bad. This time, I have also made a small contribution. The white-bearded old man muttered to himself, and a proud look flashed across his face. Suddenly, he turned around and swept his gaze across everyone in the hall. This glance was like a devilish beast staring at them from hell. Everyone's hair stood on end, and there was a chill on their backs. As for you guys? All of you go to hell. The white-bearded old man looked at everyone, and his cold, killing intent was not concealed. He stretched out his finger, aimed at the front, and blasted. Gotcha! Like a mirror, the space shattered into pieces. The power that could destroy heaven and earth spread towards everyone at lightning speed. Seeing this scene, everyone's expression changed drastically, and despair and regret were written all over their faces. No, I don't want to die. Sir, spare me. I shouldn't have come here. Curiosity killed the cat. Who can save me? Everyone felt like they were in hell, falling into endless despair. They didn't even have the courage to struggle. The white-bearded old man's expression did not change when he saw this. Your demon crystals will be useful. Your deaths will go down in history. You can die in peace, the white-bearded old man murmured. A terrifying power erupted from his finger and rapidly spread throughout the hall. It looked like everyone was about to be blasted into smithereens. At this moment, a gust of wind blew past. All the power dissipated. The white-bearded old man's expression froze as he swept his gaze across the entire hall. However, after looking for a long time, he didn't see anything unusual. Who is it? His voice reverberated throughout the hall. This sound woke everyone up with a start. They raised their heads and stared at the white-bearded old man. What's going on? Could it be that Sir doesn't want to kill us? No, it seems like someone is secretly stopping him. The voice of doubt resounded in everyone's heart. Many people murmured and prayed secretly. In their hearts, the hope of survival was ignited. Hiding the head and showing the tail, this is not a skill. Since you dare to stop me, you should dare to stand up and fight with this old man. Otherwise, this old man will not say a word even if I kill everyone. After saying this, the white-bearded old man suddenly made a move, and a terrifying power raged in the entire hall. It looked like everyone's body was about to explode into a blood mist. At this moment, all the power dissipated. The entire hall returned to calm. This time, he was stopped again, and his reaction speed was not any slower than the white-bearded old man. The white-bearded old man opened his mouth but didn't spit out a word. A touch of panic flashed across his face. To be able to resolve his move so easily, the person who secretly made a move was not simple. Even his strength was not under his own. It would not be easy for him to kill everyone by means of coercion. If he used holy power, he was afraid that the entire Chongming city would be destroyed. Sir, is it interesting to hide like this? If you let me use my true strength, the entire Chongming city will also be destroyed. This is not what you want to see, right? After saying this, are you looking for me? An ordinary-looking man stood up. He looked so ordinary that he couldn't be more ordinary. In a crowd, he couldn't find any characteristics at all. This man was none other than Sun Hao. The white-bearded old man looked at Sun Hao and frowned slightly. His divine thoughts scanned Sun Hao. After a while, he withdrew his gaze, revealing a dignified face. No matter how he looked at it, Sun Hao was just a little guy in the Demon King realm. How could such a brat stop him? Little guy, did you stop me just now? The white-bearded old man took a step forward. With this step, the terrifying coercion followed his steps and all pressed on Sun Hao. He thought that Sun Hao would be crushed to the ground. However, Sun Hao walked towards the white-bearded old man step by step, and his speed didn't even slow down. It was as if all the old man's power was ineffective against him. How is this possible? The white-bearded old man was shocked, showing an incredible look. That little guy didn't even use holy power, and he could stop his coercion? What realm has his physical body reached? In this world, is there such a strong physical body? The white-bearded old man thought secretly, and his face became more and more solemn. Who are you? Say it. Otherwise, if I use holy power, the entire Chongming city will be destroyed. The white-bearded old man looked at Sun Hao and threatened. With just you? Can you destroy it? Sun Hao said calmly, walking towards the white-bearded old man step by step. As soon as these words came out, there was dead silence all around. Everyone stared at Sun Hao as if staring at a monster. A demon king shouted at a demon saint, and he was so arrogant. In this world, besides this person, who else could it be? In the crowd, the slightly fat man looked at Sun Hao and couldn't help but widen his eyes, showing a look of disbelief. How could it be him? He rubbed his eyes, thinking that he had seen it wrong. Do you know him? I don't really know him. I only know that he is from a small village. Just this courage of his is worthy of my admiration." The slightly fat man looked at Sun Hao, his eyes full of worship. His eyes followed Sun Hao closely as he moved. Chapter 578. Kid, boasting shamelessly, "Watch my move." The white-bearded old man's body flashed and disappeared instantly. When he appeared again, he was already standing behind Sun Hao. He stretched out his palm and pressed it down on Sun Hao's head. The terrifying power made everyone's pupils shrink, and their faces changed drastically. "Be careful," many people shouted. However, it was too late. This palm, in just an instant, pressed on Sun Hao's head. "Kid, die." In the next second, the white-bearded old man could see Sun Hao's head cracked, and he died on the spot. However, dong, on the iron wall like a mortal's hand, there was a sound of metal colliding. A shock force shook the white-bearded old man's palm for a while. He looked at the cracked palm with blood marks, and his eyes widened. At this moment, he seemed to have forgotten the pain, and there was only a look of horror. This is impossible. This physical body is even stronger than a sacred weapon? The white-bearded old man's face changed drastically. Without thinking about it, he took a step and fled quickly. Today, he hid an iron plate. With such a terrifying physical body, if he fought against him, he would only end up with a tragic death. Fortunately, he only had a strong physical body, and his strength was not strong. Fortunately, he had set up a great formation here, otherwise, he would not be able to escape. At this point, the white-bearded old man breathed a long sigh of relief. He sped up a bit and quickly ran out of the hall. "Li Zhu, do you think it's so easy to come and go as you please?" With this sound, the white-bearded old man was horrified to find that he was stuck in a quagmire, and it was extremely difficult to move. The great formation he had set up did not listen to his command. The next second, the white-bearded old man was even more horrified, and his body trembled uncontrollably. This is impossible." He was horrified to find that his body was bound by a great formation and brought to Sun Hao. Sun Hao looked down at the white-bearded old man and said calmly, "Li Zhu, are you in such a hurry to leave? Who the hell are you?" The white-bearded old man's voice trembled, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. Without the pressure of the white-bearded old man, everyone regained their freedom. However, at this moment no one dared to move. Everyone's eyes were focused on Sun Hao. There was disbelief in the doubt, and suspicion in the disbelief. "It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that I killed your son," Sun Hao said faintly. "What? My son is yours." At this point, the white-bearded old man's voice gradually weakened. Unease was written all over his face. He struggled frantically, his whole body trembling uncontrollably. My lord, spare me." As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned on the spot. Everyone's expression kept changing. What? The demon saint actually begged that demon king for mercy? Monster king? That's what you think. I think he's at least a demon saint. That's right. Such a person saved us, and you still think he's a monster king? Where's your brain? Cries of surprise could be heard. Sun Hao turned a deaf ear to these voices. He looked at the white-bearded old man and said, "It's not impossible for me to spare your life." But, at this point, Sun Hao's voice paused. "Sir, please tell me. As long as I know, I will tell you everything I know." The white-bearded old man nodded repeatedly. "What is your purpose in designing to catch the nine-tailed celestial fox?" Sun Hao asked. "My lord, I was just ordered by the king to catch the demon race with ancient demon race bloodline, saying that it was of great use. I don't know what the specific use is," the white-bearded old man said. "You really don't know?" Sun Hao looked at the white-bearded old man and said faintly. This stare made the white-bearded old man's body tremble. His face changed slightly and he kept kowtowing. "My lord, I really don't know, but according to my guess, It should be the reason why the strange battle is about to start. The white-bearded old man said. Strange battle? What is this? Sun Hao was puzzled. He didn't understand it at all. Now, in front of so many people, it was not good to ask. Otherwise, he would be regarded as a different species. It was the best plan to ask Hu Luoxian alone later. Sun Hao thought secretly, burying many questions in his heart, for fear that others would treat him as a different species. Let me ask you another question. I killed your son. Do you really not want revenge? Sun Hao stared at the white-bearded old man and asked. Hearing this, the white-bearded old man's body trembled. There was a touch of fear on his face. He knelt in front of Sun Hao, shivering. Senior, my lord, you don't dare even if you give me 10,000 guts. The white-bearded old man waved his hand again and again, extremely frightened. I will definitely cut the weeds and eliminate the root. Since I promised you, I will spare your life. Give me your demon crystal. Sun Hao stretched out his hand and said faintly. The white-bearded old man's face changed drastically, and his whole body kept trembling. Taking out his demon crystal was like wasting his whole body's cultivation. From then on, he would be reduced to a waste, and anyone could bully him. If so, what was the point of living? Say, Senior, please be merciful and spare my life. The white-bearded old man kept kowtowing. I'll give you one last chance, give it to me. Sun Hao stretched out his hand and said faintly. The white-bearded old man's face changed indefinitely as if he was making a difficult decision. Since you don't give this old man a chance to live, then let's die together. Hee, the white-bearded old man smiled coldly, and with a move of his mind, he immediately detonated the demon crystal in his mind. The white-bearded old man's head lit up with a dazzling light. Such a scene directly scared the surrounding people to the point of stupefaction. Not good, he's going to blow himself up. If the demon saint blows himself up, the entire Chongming city will be finished. Despair was written on everyone's face. They closed their eyes and waited quietly for death. Boom, an explosion rang out, causing everyone to tremble in fear. They gritted their teeth and quietly waited for the moment when the shock wave came. However, after waiting for a while, they didn't feel the scene of being crushed to pieces. After opening his eyes, he couldn't help but widen his eyes and look stunned. Only to see. The white-bearded old man's head exploded. A colorful flowing demon crystal slowly floated in front of Sun Hao. In front of this seat, you want to blow yourself up? He gently held the demon crystal and looked at it in his hand. Not bad. With a wave of his right hand, he put away the demon crystal. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's eyes. Everyone's eyes widened, showing an unbelievable expression. Gratitude, worship, awe that was written on everyone's face. Thank you, Senior, for saving my life. No one knew who took the lead, but everyone knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Sun Hao. Even Hu Luoxian and others also knelt on the ground. At this moment, after Jiang Qingming and the coquettish woman's faces showed a touch of panic. Their hearts sank to hell, and their bodies were as if filled with lead, extremely difficult to move. They carefully retreated, wanting to leave the hall. However, did this seat let you go? Chapter 579. Did I allow you to leave? It was as if a bolt of lightning had struck down from the 9 heavens, causing Jiang Qingming and the gorgeous woman to tremble. They stood where they were and slowly turned around. Their faces were as ugly as bitter gourds. Say, Senior. The two knelt in front of Sun Hao, shivering. Senior, please spare me. You can't blame us. We were just following orders. Senior, this has nothing to do with us. Sun Hao looked at the two of them and asked, Where is Hu Luoxi? Where are you keeping him? Hu Luoxi? Jiang Qingming's face was full of doubt as he thought to himself. A moment later, he raised his eyebrows. Senior, are you asking about the 9-tailed celestial fox that I caught not long ago? Aren't you talking nonsense? Sun Hao's voice was cold. Say, Senior, half a month ago, Lord Li was sent to the capital city. I believe he is already in the capital city, Jiang Qingming said. What? Sun Hao released his momentum, stretched out his claws, and grabbed Jiang Qingming's neck. Jiang Qingming's face was flushed. He had difficulty breathing, and his hands were flailing wildly. Senior, please spare my life. Sensing the irresistible power, Jiang Qingming kept begging for mercy. Bang! Sun Hao released his hand and threw Jiang Qingming to the ground. Hu Luoxian's expression changed indeterminately as he watched all of this. Young master, how strong is he exactly? It can easily pinch a demon saint to death. It's an unimaginable existence. Could it be that he is stronger than the young master? It's hard to say. From the looks of it, I can only hope that he's not an enemy. Hu Luoxian had just finished his words. Thud, the sound of footsteps rang out. He saw Sun Hao walking towards Hu Luoxian step by step. Looking at the ordinary-looking man in front of him, how could he guess that this was Sun Hao? Every step was like stepping on Hu Luoxian's chest, causing his heart to beat violently. Senior. Hu Luoxian cupped his fists in greeting. Don't stand on ceremony. Sun Hao personally helped Hu Luoxian up. Hu Luoxian's body trembled as he revealed a shocked expression. Why was this senior in front of him treating him so well? What did he mean by being so polite? Thank you, senior. Hu Luoxian said gratefully. I'll leave those two little fellows to you. Sun Hao pointed at Jiang Qingming and said. This finger was like the 9 hells finger, causing Jiang Qingming and Zhang Xian to tremble violently. Senior, you really want me to deal with them? Hu Luoxian showed a look of disbelief. Do you think I'm lying? Sun Hao said. Thank you, senior. Hu Luoxian cupped his fists in greeting. Step by step, he walked toward Jiang Qingming. Anger surged within Hu Luoxian. His eyes were bloodshot as if he wanted to eat Jiang Qingming alive. Don't kill me. Jiang Qingming wanted to use the power in his body, but he found that his demon crystal seemed to have lost connection with him, and he couldn't use any energy at all. Jiang Qingming, from the moment you touched my sister, you were destined to die by my hands. Thank you, senior, for bringing this moment forward. Die. Hu Luoxian bellowed, his palm turned into a claw, and grabbed Jiang Qingming's head. No, the shouts stopped abruptly. Bang! Jiang Qingming's head was directly split open by Hu Luoxian, and red and white matter splattered everywhere. A demon crystal was caught in Hu Luoxian's hand. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's nerves. Everyone's eyes widened and they were shocked. Such a powerful city lord had actually died such a miserable death. The strength of the person in front of him was too terrifying. The glamorous woman looked at Hu Luoxian, her whole body trembling violently, her chest surging, and it was difficult to calm down. Master, spare my life, this little one is just following orders. As long as you spare me, I'm willing to be your attendant. The glamorous woman said one sentence at a time, constantly begging for mercy. However, Hu Luoxian did not respond to her, but just looked at her coldly. Deng, Hu Luoxian took a step and walked toward the glamorous woman step by step. The blood on the claw kept dripping, turning into a line of blood. It looked exceptionally ferocious. The glamorous woman looked at this scene and was scared to death. Die. Without any nonsense, Hu Luoxian stretched out his claws, aimed at the glamorous woman's head, and grabbed it. Kacha, the sound of bones breaking sounded. The glamorous woman's head burst open, and her body fell softly. After twitching a few times, there was no movement. She didn't let out a scream until she died. Dead? It's too scary. This person is like a god of death, scaring me to death. Looking at Hu Luoxian, everyone was horrified, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. Facing Hu Luoxian's gaze, they lowered their heads one after another, not daring to look at him. After sweeping around, Hu Luoxian retracted his gaze. He turned around and looked at Sun Hao, showing a grateful expression. Thank you, senior, I have finished dealing with it. Hu Luoxian saluted Sun Hao with his fists. You killed them? Sun Hao's voice was cold. Hearing this, Hu Luoxian's body trembled. He showed a puzzled look and looked at Sun Hao in a daze. I asked you to deal with them, not to kill them. You have ancient bloodline, and your killing intent is so strong. If this goes on, won't the entire demon ancestral realm be in chaos because of you? Sun Hao said. Senior, Hu Luoxian was about to speak, but Sun Hao interrupted him directly. You people, the killing is too serious. I can't keep you. After speaking, Sun Hao stretched out his hand and waved forward. A gust of wind whistled through the entire hall. Everyone's face changed drastically, and they quickly closed their eyes, not daring to look at all this. When the gust stopped, everyone opened their eyes one after another. What they saw was only a flying ash scattered on the ground. The people brought by Hu Luoxian all disappeared in place. Dead, all dead? My God, don't say it, will we all die? Everyone muttered to themselves, their whole body crawling on the ground, not daring to look at Sun Hao's eyes. Seeing this scene, Sun Hao nodded with satisfaction. His figure flashed and disappeared in place instantly. Until Sun Hao disappeared for half an hour. That senior is gone. A cry of alarm jolted everyone back to their senses. They looked up at the stage, and after seeing that Sun Hao was not there, they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Everyone stood up one after another, showing the joy of surviving a disaster. Who is that senior just now? His means are so terrifying. Kill when you say, move according to your heart. We can actually see such a character. Is he the legendary demonic ancestor Li Hua? As soon as these words came out, everyone's expression stagnated. For a while, they were stunned in place and didn't move for a long time. It's very likely that it's so easy to kill the demon saint. In addition to those few, it's the extremely mysterious demonic ancestor Li Hua. It's true, the demonic ancestor Li Hua is straightforward, and the two are exactly the same. The news that Sun Hao was the demonic ancestor Li Hua, with the city lord's mansion as the center, quickly spread in all directions. Chapter 580. Young Master? Hu Luoxian and Hu Luoxi stared at Sun Hao blankly, revealing a look full of disbelief. Surprise, disbelief, gratitude. All kinds of emotions were constantly intertwined on their faces. Is it really you? Hu Luoxi ran to Sun Hao, staring at him with seductive eyes. Yes, it's me. Sun Hao nodded slightly. Young master, thank you. Hu Luoxi wept with joy and cried loudly. It took a long time for her to calm down. Wiping away her tears, Hu Luoxi looked at Sun Hao and asked, Young master, why did you come to the demon ancestral realm? I heard that Miss Rumming was. May I ask if she was rescued? Sun Hao smiled bitterly. She is missing. Withdrawing his emotions, Sun Hao looked at the two and said, Tell me about your situation. And the two nodded and began to talk. One day, a vortex suddenly appeared over the demon ancestral mountain. This vortex could attract the power of heaven and earth. It formed a terrifying force that sucked all the demons into it. Originally, everyone would die without a doubt. After waking up, they found that they had come to a new world, but everyone was scattered everywhere. After exploring, they found that this world could trigger the ancient bloodline and open the path of ancestry. Hu Luoxi exposed his ancient bloodline in a treasure hunt. As a result, the Emperor of the Misty Demon Kingdom sent many experts to capture him. After many escapes, he finally fell into the hands of Jiang Qingming. When Hu Luoxian heard the news, he naturally came to rescue at all costs. However, he just fell into Jiang Qingming's trap. If it weren't for Sun Hao's arrival, everyone would have been captured. By the way, what about Senior Hu Laina? Sun Hao asked. Hearing this, Hu Luoxian's expression was gloomy and bitter. Mother fell into the hands of the state preceptor. She must be captured in the imperial capital now, Hu Luoxian said. The imperial capital? State preceptor? Sun Hao was puzzled. Young master, where we are now is the territory of the Misty Demon Kingdom in the Demon Ancestral Realm, and the imperial capital is the capital of the Misty Demon Kingdom. There are many powerful demon saints there, and the strength of the Demon Kingdom King has reached the 7th level of the Demon Saint Realm. Hu Luoxian said. The 7th level of the Demon Saint Realm? What realm is that Li Zhu in just now? Sun Hao asked. 2 years ago, I heard that he had just stepped into the Demon Saint Realm, said Hu Luoxian. Sun Hao frowned, revealing a thoughtful look. The Demonic Saint Realm is the same as the Sage Realm. If there's a ranking system, wouldn't it mean that I'm currently in the 2nd layer Sage Realm? No wonder he's so weak. Doesn't that mean that the monarch of the Yao Kingdom won't be easy to deal with? Could that powerful divine sense be him? Thinking of this, Sun Hao looked at Hu Luoxian and continued to speak. Can you sense a powerful divine sense sweeping across the entire demon ancestral realm? Powerful divine will? The two of them frowned and pondered for a while before shaking their heads. Young master, you can sense it. Perhaps it was released by a demon saint. However, to be able to scan the entire demon ancestral realm, even the monarch of a demon nation can't do it. Unless it's the mysteriously fire demonic ancestor, said Hu Luoxian. Demonic ancestor Li Hua? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the Li Fire demonic ancestor is extremely mysterious. He has been guarding the demonic ancestral realm for 1,000,000 years. No one can know his strength and identity. Young master, you can sense the demonic ancestor Li Hua. Your soul is really powerful. Hu Luoxian and Hu Luoxian's faces showed a look of worship. Don't praise me. By the way, I just heard Li Zhu say something about a strange battle. What's going on? Sun Hao asked. Young master, we also inquired about this matter for a long time, and we only know a little bit. Things have to start from 1,000,000 years ago. One day, the heavenly Tao came to the demon ancestral realm. So, every 10,000 years, a son of the heavenly Tao will be born. He is the spokesperson of the heavenly Tao and can control some of the heavenly Tao laws. In the entire demon ancestral realm, he is a heavenly existence, and no one can shake his position. In order to obtain the son of the heavenly Tao, the world started a strange battle. The winning side can go to meet the son of the heavenly Tao. Hu Luoxian said. Hearing this, Sun Hao was even more puzzled. What does this have to do with capturing the ancient bloodline demons? Young master, we don't understand this very well. We only know that the more demons with ancient bloodline are captured, the greater the chance of winning. Hu Luoxian said. Sun Hao stood in place and kept thinking. Soul poison, strange battle, powerful divine sense, heavenly Tao, son of the heavenly Tao, all of this, like a thick fog, rushed toward Sun Hao. It fascinated him in the middle, regardless of the 4 directions. Above the saint is the Holy Spirit. I don't know how strong it will be when I reach that realm. Sun Hao's mind moved, and his divine sense scanned the entire soul space. A surge of power of faith rushed toward Sun Hao, quickly enhancing his strength. In another day, I will break through to the 3rd stage of the Saint Realm. It's time to go to the imperial capital to see. Thinking of this, Sun Hao swept his eyes on the two. By the way, do you have any news about Senior Yuli? Sun Hao asked. No. The two shook their heads slightly. We suspect that Senior Yuli may have been caught. Was she also caught by the Misty Demon Kingdom King? No, it is likely that she was caught by the Fire Phoenix Demon Kingdom King. Hu Luoxian said. Fire Phoenix Demon Kingdom? Is it comparable to the Misty Demon Kingdom? Sun Hao asked. Not only that, the Fire Phoenix Demon Kingdom's national power is even stronger. These 2 great demon kingdoms are the top forces in the demon ancestral realm. The war was led by them, and the major demon kingdoms and small forces have attached themselves to them, resulting in a battle of life and death. Hu Luoxian said. Understanding this, Sun Hao nodded slightly. In that case, you stay here and cultivate. Leave the matter of saving your mother to me. Sun Hao said. Young master, how can this be? Hu Luoxian showed a look of embarrassment. There is nothing impossible. This is my soul space, enough for you to break through to the demon saint realm. Only then can you help me. Sun Hao's words were like thunder from the ninth heaven, blasting the two people's expressions, and they did not recover for a long time. This is the soul space? I thought I returned to the human world. Young master is really too strong. This is not smaller than the human world. Oh my God, such a sacred chi, not to mention becoming a demon saint, even becoming a Holy Spirit is not impossible. The two muttered to themselves and looked around in a daze. When the two came back to their senses, they found that Sun Hao had already disappeared in place. Young master saved us again, there is no way to repay this kindness. Hu Luodi muttered to himself with a grateful face. This is not simple. Cultivate hard and reach the saint realm, no, the Holy Spirit realm, so that we can become useful pawns in young master's hands. After speaking, Hu Luoxian left quickly. Wait for me. Hu Luodi quickly followed. The two found a place and began to cultivate. Chapter 581. Misty Demon Kingdom, the central square of the imperial capital. The registration for the battle has begun. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for 10,000 years. Finally, I've been waiting for this day. Me too. This time, I must enter the battlefield. There was an excited and enthusiastic voice in the entire square. Sun Hao stood in the crowd and watched all of this quietly, like a bystander. It is said that this battle is different from the past. The first major affiliated country has joined our Misty Empire camp. What? Blue Moon Kingdom joined? Really? Of course it's true. I saw the people from their country yesterday. Hey, in this case, doesn't it mean that they are going to occupy hundreds of places? Do we still have a chance? There are only 10,000 places every time. It's too difficult. The sound of discussion continued. Sun Hao frowned slightly, revealing a thoughtful look. The third level of the Saint Realm. In another half a month, there is hope to break through to the fourth level of the Saint Realm. The king is at the seventh level of the Saint Realm. I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with him. The National Master is also at the third level of the Saint Realm. There is also the mysterious demonic ancestor Li Huo. I have to keep a low profile. In that case, I'll go to the battlefield first and see what tricks they are playing. Sun Hao thought secretly and made a decision. Time passed little by little. Half an hour later. The sky shook and several figures fell from the sky. The leader, dressed in a black robe, just standing there, gave people a sense of power without anger. He stroked his long black beard and released his aura. The surging Sage Realm aura swept the world like a tsunami, enveloping the entire square. Everyone's figure stagnated, a chill surged through their whole body, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. What a terrifying aura this is the senior of the demonic Saint Realm. What senior? That's the National Master. What? The National Master came in person? There were constant exclamations. After looking at the National Master, many people withdrew their gaze and lowered their heads to show respect. The terrifying pressure came quickly and left even faster. In just a moment, everyone recovered. The battle is about to begin. By the order of the king, I came to lead the registration for the battle. Thanks to the king, the number of places that can enter the battlefield this time has increased from 10,000 to 100,000. The words just fell. The whole scene was shocked. Everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. What? 100,000 spots? My God! Great, there's a 100% chance this time. To be able to enter the alien battlefield, this life is enough. Cries of surprise could be heard. After a long time, the scene gradually quieted down. Next, we will enter the arena. Anyone who wishes to sign up for the variant battle, just raise your hand. I will send you into the arena. If you win, you will be able to enter the arena. Alright, raise your hands to register. Let's begin. After this sound, everyone raised their hands, afraid that the Grand Preceptor would not be able to see it. Even Sun Hao raised his hand unhurriedly. Buzz, waves of terrifying suction force enveloped everyone. The scenery changed, and Sun Hao appeared on a circular competition platform. Hundreds of demons of different appearances stood around him. Moreover, one could not see the end of such a stage. Roughly speaking, there were at least 100,000 of them. There were spectator stands around each of the fighting stages. On the viewing platform, there were tens of thousands of demons watching the battle. Such a grand scene could not be described with words. What, the Demon King even dares to sign up? On the viewing platform, someone immediately noticed Sun Hao. Fuck, it's really the Demon King. Is he going to court death? The Demon King dares to participate in the variant battle? I bet this Demon King won't last more than 3 seconds. 3 seconds? Then you're overestimating him. I dare say that in a second, he will be smashed to pieces. The sound of discussion continued. On the platform where Sun Hao was, many people also noticed him. However, they just glanced at him and did not take it to heart. Soon after, the referee walked to the stage, looked at the crowd, and said, "There are no rules, no restrictions on means, but anyone who falls out of the stage is considered to have failed. The only person who can stand on the stage can enter the battlefield. If there are more than 2 people standing on the stage, everyone will be eliminated. The time is half an hour. Now start the competition." After this sound, ding, boom, boom, the sound of explosions continued. The other platforms had started the crazy attack mode. All kinds of skills bloomed with dazzling light, illuminating the sky. One by one, the opponents who participated in the competition were quickly blasted off the platform. Some were even directly blasted into flying ash, and the flying demon crystal was not left behind. Everyone used all their means and attacked the people on the stage crazily. On the platform where Sun Hao stood, no one had moved for the time being. Everyone looked at the people around them with a look of fear. After waiting for a moment, "This old man has waited for 10,000 years, this place is mine. Whoever fights with me, don't blame this old man for being ruthless." A gray-haired old man finally couldn't hold back, and he took the lead to stand up. Buzz, the old man, released his aura, and the surging pressure of the God-Emperor realm enveloped the entire platform. At this moment, the faces on the platform changed drastically, and their legs trembled uncontrollably. This is the Demon Emperor, too terrifying. How can it be a 5th-grade Demon Emperor? How can I be so unlucky? There are 100,000 platforms, but I can meet the Demon Emperor. AI, with the Demon Emperor here, how can I still have a share in this battle? Everyone looked at the old man, showing a look of fear. On the field, apart from Sun Hao, there was a man in a red robe with a calm expression. Such a scene not only surprised the people on the scene, but also surprised everyone on the platform. They stared blankly at the old man, showing an unbelievable expression. What kind of luck do I have to be able to see the battle of the Demon Emperor? This ticket is worth buying, I can feast my eyes. Haha, my luck is really good. Everyone's face changed from surprise to surprise. Suddenly, a cry of exclamation sounded. Looking along this person's hand, everyone's eyes were staring at Sun Hao. What? This is impossible. Fake, it must be fake. How can a Demon King resist the pressure of the Demon Emperor? Shouldn't he be smashed to pieces? Could it be that the pressure of the Demon Emperor is fake? Such a voice awakened the old man. He narrowed his eyes and stared directly at Sun Hao. How can a Demon King resist this old man's pressure? He must be pretending. I'd like to see how long you can resist. The old man snorted coldly, releasing the pressure with all his strength, enveloping Sun Hao. However, Sun Hao still stood there calmly, and his face did not change. "This is impossible." The old man's face changed slightly, looking at Sun Hao seriously. Chapter 582. Is he not a demon king realm, but a demon emperor realm powerhouse? Impossible. How can his demon king aura hide from this old man's secret method? Is he a body cultivator powerhouse? Thinking of this, the old man showed a look of realization. He withdrew his pressure, avoided Sun Hao, and continued to envelop others. Gotcha! A burst of joint cracking sounds rang out. Everyone's bodies seemed to be carrying several mountains, and for a while they couldn't breathe smoothly. Jump down by yourself, otherwise, don't blame this old man for being rude. The old man's voice was cold, and his whole person increased a bit more momentum. The joint cracking sounds erupted again, and everyone's faces changed again and again. Many people couldn't resist this kind of pressure at all and directly knelt on the ground. Even walking was more difficult. "It's really bad luck. I can't participate in this battle." "Hey, let's go, life matters." With extremely unwilling expressions, many people jumped off the circular battle platform one by one. Soon, there were only a few dozen people left in the competition field. "You want this old man to take action?" The old man looked at the remaining people, swept his eyes, and said coldly, "We have prepared for thousands of years for this battle. How can I give up so easily?" "That's right, one step to heaven, one step to earth. Life and death have long been out of consideration. Everyone together, beat him down, and then we will decide the winner." "Okay." After speaking, dozens of people rushed over like wolves and tigers. Sun Hao looked at this scene and was secretly surprised. What is this battle? Why are they so obsessed? Sun Hao looked at the dozens of people who rushed forward, his face unchanged. Damn it! The old man looked at these people who rushed forward and cursed. "Since you want to die, don't blame this old man for being ruthless." With a kick of his hind legs, the old man disappeared instantly. When he appeared again, he had already arrived in front of the man who rushed to the front. He raised his claws and grabbed the man's head. "You want to hurt me with this?" The man smiled coldly, and when he was about to use his body technique, he couldn't help but freeze in place. He was horrified to find that the space around him seemed to be imprisoned, and he couldn't move at all. No, the man's pupils contracted, showing a face of unwillingness, and let out a hysterical cry. Boom! A sound like a watermelon bursting rang out. The man's head burst open, and red and white matter splattered everywhere. He fell to the ground, twitched a few times, and then stopped moving. All of this happened as fast as lightning, and dozens of people were stunned. They stood where they were, afraid to move forward. Who else? The old man's ferocious gaze swept past, and anyone who came into contact with it retreated, not daring to look him in the eye. What should we do? What else can we do? Wasn't it just death? I've been preparing for thousands of years for this moment. Everyone, let's charge together. If we participate in the variant war, we will have a chance to enter the heaven realm. For the sake of becoming a demon saint, charge. After a moment of shock, the crowd charged forward once more. Enter the heaven realm? Become a demon sage. Sun Hao listened to this and nodded secretly. No wonder they were so infatuated with it. Can we really enter the heaven realm? No matter what, going to the alien battlefield to take a look is not a bad thing. I need time to break through. Sun Hao glanced at the soul space, and his eyes bloomed with a strange light. The stronger the believers became, the more power of faith they would contribute to him. At the same time, his strength was improving faster and faster. This feeling was as if he could enhance his strength without cultivating. Withdrawing his mood, Sun Hao stared at the old man. He saw. Damn it! The old man cursed secretly. His gaze swept to the red-robed man not far from the stage. A hint of fear flashed across his face. Originally, He was going to accumulate strength and fight with the red-robed man. Unexpectedly, it backfired, and it didn't work. Although they were only in the demon venerable realm, there was nothing to worry about. But there were many people. If this went on, the demon chi would be exhausted, and the red-robed man would reap the benefits. As for Sun Hao, he was just a demon king. No matter how strong his physical body was, how could he be his opponent? He didn't take it to heart at all. Boom! There was an explosion. Another man's head was smashed by the old man, and his demon crystal was taken out. The ferocious scene did not make the crowd retreat. On the contrary, they rushed forward desperately. All kinds of moves were madly used. Boom! The loud noise continued. Many moves hit the old man, but they didn't cause much damage to him. On the contrary, he could tear a few men apart with a casual grab. After a few times, there were less than 20 people standing around the old man. They looked at the old man, and the expressions on their faces changed. There were even a few people whose legs had been trembling. "Do you still want to fight? Come on." The old man looked at the remaining people, and his lips were full of blood, looking particularly ferocious. "The demon emperor is too powerful. Everyone, let's go together. He is exhausted." A man roared, turned around, and jumped directly into the competition stage. Such a scene immediately woke up the others. One by one, they jumped off the competition stage. Looking at the scarlet competition stage, everyone's face showed the joy of surviving a disaster. Damn, the demon emperor is really powerful. He killed so many demon venerables with his bare hand. Who can compare? It's so wonderful, so powerful. Now there are only 3 people left. Who do you think will stand until the end? That goes without saying, of course, it's this gray-haired senior. That's not necessarily. I think the red-robed man is also an unfathomable person. Such discussions kept ringing. They were all around the old man and the red-robed man. As for Sun Hao, he seemed to be forgotten at this moment like a transparent person. That kid in white is still standing there. Finally, someone found Sun Hao and pointed to him. Him? What is a body cultivator? That's right, his realm is only at the Demon King realm. How can he be the opponent of the Demon Emperor? I can guarantee that when they fight later, he will be smashed into powder by the aftermath. Sun Hao turned a deaf ear to these voices. He stood calmly on the stage, motionless. "Little guy, are you going to jump down by yourself? Or will this old man grab you into powder?" The old man looked at the red-robed man, showing a fierce look. The red-robed man grinned, with his hands behind his back, and did not respond to the old man. The old man's face changed slightly, showing a cautious look. If the threat didn't work, then the kid in front of him would be a hard bone to chew. Who is he? What realm has his strength reached? The old man used a secret method to release it on the red-robed man. It swept from head to tail, and from tail to head. However, after exhausting all methods, he couldn't see the realm of the red-robed man. Even his aura couldn't be detected. If he wasn't standing there, it would not be easy to find him. To be able to hide his aura to this extent, this kid is not simple. Humph, but with this method, you want to scare this old man away. Die. The old man showed a cruel smile, stepped forward, and disappeared instantly. Chapter 583. Buzz, the space trembled. A blood-colored claw broke the sky. The light of the whole world seemed to lose its color and dimmed in an instant. In the darkness, the sharp claw, as red as blood, stretched down from the sky and pounced on the old man. This, the old man opened his mouth wide and murmured for a long time without spitting out a word. An indescribable fear spread all over his body. At this moment, he just wanted to escape. However, his legs were like lead, and it was difficult to move at all. Even moving a finger was extremely difficult. This is a demon saint. My God. The old man muttered to himself, his eyes showing uncontrollable panic. He could only watch the sharp claw in the sky grab down, and he was powerless. "Spare me!" the old man muttered to himself and kept begging for mercy. "Those who threaten this seat are all dead." This voice was not loud, but it was full of endless majesty. "No," the old man let out a hysterical roar. Then, boom, there was an explosion. There was only this sound left in the whole world. The blood-colored claw grabbed the old man's head, and his head instantly burst open. Then, the whole body also collapsed into a blood mist. The breath on the old man's body was all absorbed by the blood-colored claw, leaving nothing behind. The world regained its light and everyone regained consciousness, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. They looked at the red-robed man, full of awe. My God, I can actually see the demon saint in action. It's too terrifying, too powerful. Why does the demon saint also participate in the battle? All the sacred chi in the world is in the heaven realm. If the demon saint wants to break through, he can only go to the heaven realm. So that's how it is. Who is he? Such terrifying strength. I think he must have a name. I know, he must be the ancient spirit blood demon. What? It's him? My God, he is a peerless demon saint who survived from ancient times. I didn't expect that he is still alive. Such a peerless demon saint, I can actually see it? This isn't a dream, right? The exclamations continued, and for a while, they couldn't stop at all. The whole scene was extremely explosive. Buzz, the sky shook, and a figure broke through the air and stood in the sky. The person who came was the imperial advisor of the Misty Demon Kingdom. He stood in front of the ancient spirit blood demon and cupped his fists respectfully. "Greetings, senior ancient spirit. You are a few realms higher than me. You don't have to be so polite," the ancient spirit blood demon said lightly. "Senior, you are a demon almighty. Even if my cultivation level is higher than yours, it doesn't mean anything. It's only right to show respect to senior." The imperial advisor bowed respectfully. "Yes." The ancient spirit blood demon nodded slightly and motioned for the imperial master to leave. "Senior, I'll take my leave." With that, the imperial tutor stepped into the air and disappeared without a trace. Only Sun Hao and the ancient spirit blood demon were left in the entire arena. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Sun Hao. "What's wrong with this kid? Could it be that you want Senior to take action? No way. Is this kid courting death?" Senior didn't attack him because he didn't have a high cultivation base, but he actually thinks that he can't defeat him. "If it were me, I would really want to slap this ignorant brat to death. What's the rush? It's fine if you don't make a move, but once you do, you'll definitely turn him into minced meat." The ancient spirit blood demon looked at Sun Hao and frowned slightly. "Little guy, I don't mean to hurt you. You can go down by yourself," the ancient spirit blood demon said. "Little guy, you go down by yourself? I don't want to hurt you," Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out, there was dead silence all around. Everyone's eyes widened, showing an incredulous expression. "My God, this kid is crazy. He actually calls himself I? Dare to imitate senior ancient spirit blood demon's words? Don't want to live?" Even the imperial advisor is so respectful when he sees senior ancient spirit blood demon. He's just a kid, how dare he talk so big? Isn't he afraid of breaking his teeth? The whole scene was extremely explosive. Even the ancient spirit blood demon's mouth twitched slightly at this moment, and his expression was ugly. He was the first one who dared to talk to him like this. "Do you really think I have a good temper? I don't dare to kill you, right? Little guy, in this way, do you want to compete with me?" The ancient spirit blood demon's voice was cold. On his body, a stream of blood chi rushed into the sky like a raging stream, forming a giant blood-colored cloud, covering the whole world. Squeak! A strange cry came from the blood cloud, and it was particularly frightening to hear it. Buzz! The sky trembled, and blood-red claws emerged from the blood cloud, rushing straight to where Sun Hao was. while a stream of blood-colored silk threads fell straight down from the blood-red claws, enveloping Sun Hao. The surrounding space seemed to be unable to withstand this kind of pressure and was quickly cracking apart. Even the protective array was trembling constantly, as if it would explode at any time. This is too terrible. The array is going to collapse. Run. It's over. Senior Ancient Spirit is angry. Will it be a disaster to the fish in the moat? Voices of horror rang in the viewing platform. They wanted to escape, but their bodies didn't listen to them. They could only watch those sharp claws fall, and they were powerless to do anything. Kid, this is the result of offending me. In my Azura blood prison, your soul and body will be devoured. The stronger your body, the more vigorous your chi and blood will be, which is a great supplement for the Azura blood prison. The ancient spirit blood demon looked at Sun Hao with a cruel smile. Sun Hao stood in place, motionless. That look, as if he was scared silly. Seeing that those sharp claws in the sky were about to hit Sun Hao. At this time, Sun Hao suddenly raised his head, and his eyes swept over the sharp claws. Immediately, squeak, a strange cry resounded through heaven and earth. These sharp claws, as if they were subjected to a terrifying power, burst apart one by one. The blood clouds in the sky all disappeared. The surrounding instantly returned to calm. Everyone looked up at the sky blankly, showing a look of disbelief. What's going on? Why did Senior Ancient Spirit break through and stop? No, look at Senior Ancient Spirit, his face is pale, and he seems to be injured. What? How did he get injured? I didn't see anyone make a move? It can't be that kid disintegrated Senior Ancient Spirit's move with a glance, right? This sound, like thunder from the ninth heaven, blasted everyone's face pale. How could such an unimaginable scene have appeared? If not, why would the ancient spirit blood demon be injured? Doubt was written all over everyone's face. They looked at Sun Hao with torch-like eyes, as if they wanted to see through Sun Hao. However, after exhausting the secret method, Sun Hao was like an ordinary demon king, with nothing special at all. The next second, the reaction of the ancient spirit blood demon stunned everyone even more, and their eyeballs fell to the ground. How is this possible? It's fake, right? My God! What did I see? Chapter 584. The ancient spirit blood demon walked to Sun Hao, aimed at him, and knelt down. Greetings, demonic forefatherly fire. As soon as these words came out, the entire scene fell into a dead silence. Everyone stared blankly at Sun Hao, and the expressions on their faces changed. Fear, awe, disbelief, all kinds of emotions intertwined on their faces. Oh my God, that's the Li Fire demonic ancestor? I didn't expect him to be the demonic ancestor Li Hua. The Li Fire demonic ancestor has come out? This can't be real, right? Fake my ass. Not long ago, the demonic ancestor Li Hua killed many monsters with ancient bloodlines in Chongming City because of an action. Is it really the Li Fire demonic forefather? Everyone's eyes were fixed on Sun Hao. Their bodies trembled uncontrollably. Did I just call the demon ancestor a kid? Is he courting death? We're doomed. The Li Hua demonic ancestor has a bad temper and kills without batting an eye. It's possible that he'll kill us all. Gradually, everyone's expression turned into one of despair and regret. They lowered their heads and did not dare to look at Sun Hao's eyes. His body began to tremble uncontrollably. At this moment, Sun Hao was also stunned in place. Demonic forefather Li Fire? How did I become the Li Fire demonic ancestor? Should I admit it or not? For a while, Sun Hao couldn't make a decision. Buzz, space trembled. Figures walked out of the ripples and stood in front of Sun Hao. The person in the lead was wearing a yellow robe and emitting an emperor's aura. This person was the ruler of the Misty Demon Kingdom, Yao Jiutian. Standing beside Yao Jiutian were many men and women dressed in embroidered clothes. The China division was among them. Every single one of them exuded the aura of a sage, causing others to not dare to look at them directly. Paying respects to Senior Li Hua, Yao Jiutian took the lead, directly bent down, and gave Sun Hao a big salute. Their orderly voices were filled with boundless reverence. Sun Hao stood in place, sensing the surging aura in Yao Jiutian's body, and his heart was a little scared. However, there was no expression on his face. He clasped his hands behind his back and stood there calmly. He had no intention of asking Yao Jiutian to turn around. Yao Jiutian bowed on the spot, his expression changing. Senior did not allow us to rise. Could it be that someone has offended Senior? From the looks of it, it must be so. If that's the case, let's kill the 30,000 people down there first. With that thought in mind, Yao Jiutian released his aura. A terrifying pressure poured down like the Milky Way, pouncing on the crowd below. The expressions of everyone on the spectating platform changed drastically when they witnessed this scene, and despair was written all over their faces. Who would have thought that the country king would personally make a move? We're finished. Looks like his soul has been destroyed. Spare me, spare me. Senior Li Fire, we know our mistake. Cries of despair resounded throughout the arena. It looked like the terrifying pressure was about to tear everyone into pieces. At this moment, did I allow you to attack? This voice was like a clap of thunder in Yao Jiutian's ears. Instantly, his body froze and he stopped attacking. Beads of sweat appeared on his forehead as he hurriedly cupped his fists and bowed. Senior Li Hua, I know I was wrong. Humph! Sun Hao snorted coldly, his figure flashed, and instantly appeared in front of Yao Jiutian. Raising his hand, he aimed a slap at Yao Jiutian. Seeing this slap, Yao Jiutian's expression changed slightly, but he was incomparably pleased with himself. You want to hurt me just by relying on your physical body? It seems that he is really a fake demonic ancestor Li Hua. Yao Jiutian thought secretly, waiting for Sun Hao's slap to come. Pa! A crisp sound resounded throughout the world. A terrifying force enveloped Yao Jiutian's body. His body flew out like a kite with a broken string. After rolling countless laps in the sky, he stabilized his figure. After standing up, the left side of his face quickly became red and swollen. A huge pain surged from his face, making Yao Jiutian grimace in pain. Yao Jiutian rubbed his left face and looked at Sun Hao as if looking at a monster. Such a terrifying physical body, who in the world could have it? Could it be that demonic ancestor Li Hua obtained a primordial holy treasure and tempered his physical body to an indescribable realm? Absolutely so. He was careless, he shouldn't have tested like this. After some thought, Yao Jiutian flew back quickly and stood respectfully in front of Sun Hao. Senior, I'm sorry. He was respectful and didn't dare to be disrespectful. As for the others, they were even more respectful. From beginning to end, he had been bowing his body and didn't dare to get up. There will be no next time. Sun Hao's voice was cold. Yes, yes, Senior. Yao Jiutian nodded repeatedly. Senior, please. Yao Jiutian made a gesture of invitation. A transparent ripple appeared in front of Sun Hao. Without any hesitation, Sun Hao took a step forward and stepped into it. The scenery changed. Sun Hao came to a large hall. Around the hall there were screens. On the screens there were people competing in each arena. Boom! The loud sound of the battle kept coming from the screen. Sun Hao sat down directly and glanced at these screens. Senior, do you want to watch the battle? Yao Jiutian asked tentatively. And go down? Sun Hao waved his hand, showing an impatient look. Seeing this scene, Yao Jiutian and the others' faces changed drastically and hurriedly retreated. Leaving the arena, Yao Jiutian breathed a long sigh of relief. I didn't expect that demonic ancestor Li Hua was really born. Yao Jiutian muttered to himself. Father, what should we do? With him here, everything is unknown in this battle of Daozi. A graceful woman stood up and asked respectfully. This woman was none other than the #1 genius of the ethereal empire and also the current princess, Yao Zishuan. This is not the place to talk, let's go. Yao Jiutian waved his right hand, causing ripples. He led everyone into the ripples and disappeared in place. When they appeared again, they had already come to a secret room. This secret room was covered with layers of restrictions and formations. Yao Jiutian's right hand kept waving, and an ancient great formation was quickly arranged, covering the entire secret room. Father, it's not necessary, demonic Ancestor Li Hua is powerful, but it's impossible for his divine sense to penetrate so many layers of formations, right? Yao Zishuan said. Be careful, we must not fail in this battle of Daozi. Otherwise, our ethereal demon empire will be in danger. Yao Jiutian said solemnly. Yes, Father, by the way, why are you not worried about demonic Ancestor Li Hua? Yao Zishuan asked. Worried? No. Yao Jiutian shook his finger, showing a confident look. Since Li Hua came to participate in the grand competition, he must also want to enter the battlefield. If I'm not wrong, he must have reached a bottleneck and wants to go to the heavenly realm to find an opportunity to break through. However, even if it's demonic Ancestor Li Hua, he must not have thought that this battlefield is. Yao Jiutian said one sentence at a time, and Yao Zishuan nodded repeatedly. Brilliant, really brilliant, Father, you're really amazing. Chapter 585. After Yao Jiutian left, Sun Hao sat in place and let out a long sigh of relief. He looked at the screens in front of him without moving his eyes. Suddenly, Sun Hao raised his eyebrows and looked at one of the screens, his eyes shining brightly. They saw, on the screen, a man wielding a metal cudgel was striking left and right, sending the people on the stage flying one by one. No spells or secret techniques could stop this man's staff. The entire arena was filled with cheers and applause. Sun Hao didn't know this man, but he was familiar with the stick in his hand. This was the iron rod that he had forged in the past, and he had given it to Sun Wukong. Who would have thought that the metal rod would actually have an artifact spirit that could grow on its own? Its current strength was no weaker than an ordinary sage artifact. Sun Wukong. Sun Hao looked at the man, revealing a faint smile. I didn't expect to see Sun Wukong here. I wonder where Ning Mingji is? Have they found their demonic powers? With a series of questions, Sun Hao continued to stare at Goku. As expected, Sun Wukong won first place and became the only one standing on the stage. Sun Hao continued to stare at the screen and did not find any familiar people. Time flew, and half a day passed in the blink of an eye. The 100,000 fighting arenas had all completed their battles. Senior. Yao Jiutian's voice came from outside the hall. Come in. Sun Hao said lightly. Creak. The door opened. Yao Jiutian walked in and stood respectfully in front of Sun Hao. Senior Li Hua, we are about to head to the battlefield. Are you prepared to go? Yao Jiutian asked. Of course. Sun Hao said lightly. Please. Yao Jiutian waved his right hand, and a portal appeared in front of Sun Hao. Sun Hao took a step forward, stepped into the portal, and instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in the sky. In front of him stood 100,000 victors. Seeing Sun Hao come out, everyone was excited. Admiration was written all over his face. Paying respects to Senior Li Hua, their voices resounded throughout the world. His impassioned aura made one's blood boil. Rise. Sun Hao looked at everyone and said faintly. Thank you, Senior Li Hua. Everyone stood up and lowered their heads slightly to show their respect. Demonic Ancestor Li Hua is only at the Monster King realm? Did I sense wrongly? It can't be. He can send the monarch flying with a slap with just his physical body? Is this true? The Li Fire demonic ancestor's cultivation level dropped. Everyone murmured to themselves in bewilderment. However, they didn't dare to show it on their faces, and they all wore respectful expressions. Even Sun Wukong had a respectful look on his face. Sun Hao glanced at Goku from the corner of his eyes, then he sat on the main seat without saying a word. Buzz, suddenly, the sky shook. One figure after another walked out of the ripples. The person in the lead was dressed in clothes whiter than snow. Her skin was smooth and creamy, and she looked extremely beautiful. Few strands of ice threads circled around the woman. The entire world seemed to have become ice cold. Her appearance immediately caused a series of exclamations. Blue Moon Kingdom's princess, Qin Luoyue, is personally leading the team. Am I seeing things? Rumor has it that Princess Luoyue has become a demon saint. Is this true? Wow, so beautiful! There's actually such a beautiful person in this world. She's as beautiful as a holy spirit. I don't dare to look straight at her. Everyone muttered to themselves and stared blankly at Qin Luoyue and the others, unable to come back to their senses for a moment. Sun Hao glanced at Qin Luoyue and was also secretly surprised. This person's appearance was extremely beautiful, and there was no flaw to pick out. Compared with Huang Rumring, there was no winner or loser. In other words, the two were a different kind of beauty. Qin Luoyue didn't seem to hear the crowd's exclamations. She turned around and glanced at Sun Hao, her eyebrows slightly furrowed. He's the demonic ancestor Li Hua? Why is he only in the Demon King realm? Qin Luoyue muttered to herself, puzzled. But there was no expression on her face. She walked towards Sun Hao step by step with a myriad of amorous postures. The smile on the corner of her mouth was like a spring breeze, and it was particularly comfortable to see. Whether he is the demonic ancestor Li Hua or not, since the king told me, I can't offend him. Qin Luoyue thought secretly, walked in front of Sun Hao and bowed to salute. Luoyue greets Senior Li Hua. Qin Luoyue said. You are? Sun Hao looked puzzled. Senior, my name is Qin Luoyue, the princess of Blue Moon Kingdom, and the leader of the Blue Moon Kingdom this time. In the next battle, I still need to rely on Senior to take care of me. Qin Luoyue was not in a hurry, her voice was sweet, and it was particularly comfortable to hear. Well said, well said. Sun Hao nodded slightly. Senior, then I'll leave first. Qin Luoyue took the crowd and retreated to the side. Yao Jiutian stepped forward and led the leaders of the small countries to Sun Hao, introducing them one by one. Among these people, the weakest had reached the God-Emperor realm. The strong ones had reached the Saint realm. Among this group of people, there were dozens of people who had reached the Saint realm, which made Sun Hao secretly shocked. When were there so many saints, and they were all concentrated in this demon ancestral realm? Why was this? It seemed that there were not many saints in the heaven realm. Could this be related to the heavenly Tao? What kind of existence is the heavenly Tao? Sun Hao thought secretly, and every time he saw a person, he nodded slightly. After introducing everyone, Yao Jiutian walked in front of Sun Hao and bowed respectfully. Senior, what about me? Yao Jiutian lowered his head, showing a questioning look. Go. Sun Hao nodded slightly. With Sun Hao's permission, Yao Jiutian walked in front of everyone and spoke. Everyone is the elite of my ethereal demon kingdom. The once-in-10,000 years war is about to begin. This matter is related to the rise and fall of my ethereal demon kingdom, and at the same time, it is also related to everyone's future. As we all know, if you want to become a demon saint, you must participate in the war to have a chance. You can even enter the heaven realm and reach a higher level. On the road of cultivation, if you don't advance, you will fall back. Only by moving forward can you break free from the shackles of this world and travel to a broader space. Yao Jiutian said one sentence at a time. Each sentence was full of chicken blood, making people excited. The color of expectation was written on everyone's face. Okay, that's all for now. Next, I'll talk about the precautions for this departure. Because there are too many people competing this time, the teleportation array can't send everyone over. So, we can only take the flying boat. Every 1,000 people take a flying boat. All flying boats must listen to my orders because we need to pass through a dangerous place, Crown Nether Valley. As soon as these words came out, everyone's faces changed drastically, and fear was written all over their faces. What? We have to pass through Crown Nether Valley? It's too dangerous there. No way. Legend has it that there are demon saint-level monsters below. How can a small flying boat resist it? What are you afraid of? With the king leading the team and demon ancestor Li Hua in charge, everything is not a problem. Chapter 586. Thousands of ships sailed across the sky like rainbows. The vast scene could not be described with words. Qin Luoyue sat in the driver's seat of one of the flying ships, calmly looking at the scenery that was rushing past in front of her. A middle-aged man sat next to her with confusion written all over his face. Luoyue, is a demon king worthy of your respect? The middle-aged man couldn't help but ask. Qin Luoyue smiled faintly, full of charm. Uncle, that's just on the surface. Really? The middle-aged man was startled, and his eyes bloomed with a strange light. You also think he's not the Li-Fire demonic ancestor? The Li-Fire demonic ancestor? Him? Is he worthy? Qin Luoyue snorted coldly with a disdainful expression. The real Li-Fire demonic ancestor has world-destroying flames in his body. He can burn the universe with his will. And he doesn't have that kind of flame aura in his body, Qin Luoyue said. So, he's not the Li-Fire demonic ancestor? With the king's ability, he should be able to find out. Why does he still respect him so much? I think the king's respect seems to come from his bones. The middle-aged man asked with a face full of confusion. Hee. That's all done to dispel the little guy's doubts. If I'm not wrong, he's a sacrifice. The middle-aged man's eyes widened with disbelief and surprise. After a long time, the middle-aged man calmed down. I heard that he used his physical body to slap the king away. Is that true? If that's the case, what will happen if he finds out about these things? The middle-aged man's face showed a trace of fear. Uncle, we don't have to worry about these things. The king is cunning. I think everything is under his control. We just need to do our own things, Qin Luoyue said. Luoyue, you're right. The middle-aged man nodded. I hope you can go further this time. Uncle, how can you say that? This trip is for you to break through to the demonic saint realm, Qin Luoyue said. Luoyue, thank you. The middle-aged man's eyes flashed with tears. We're all family. You're welcome. Qin Luoyue turned her head, and her expression changed slightly. A bloody light flashed in her eyes. On a flying ship not far from Blue Moon Kingdom, a man stood on the deck of the flying ship, looking into the distance. This person was none other than Sun Wukong. Master, don't worry. I will find you. You must be the same as me, wanting to participate in the alien battle, right? Let's meet on the battlefield. Sun Wukong muttered to himself with a determined expression. Suddenly, Goku's expression changed slightly. Looking at the endless blood-red airflow in front of him, he could not help but raise his eyebrows. Many people standing on the deck had the same expression as him. That's underworld crown energy. Heavens! It's so thick. It's completely enveloping the entire world. It's impossible to pass through. If I remember correctly, there is still 1,000 kilometers before we reach the underworld crown ocean. How did we get here so early? Underworld crown energy can't be moved by the wind. How can it spread? Cries of surprise could be heard continuously. Everyone had a solemn expression on their faces. Even Yao Jiutian was standing in the sky at this moment. Looking at the wall-like underworld crown aura before him, he knitted his brows tightly. Buzz, the space shook. A beautiful figure appeared beside Yao Jiutian. This person was Yao Jiutian's daughter, Yao Zishuan. Father, there's no way to pass through such thick underworld crown aura, Yao Zishuan said. I just don't know how big this underworld crown aura covers. Yao Jiutian frowned slightly. The underworld crown ocean is 100,000 miles. If it's spread from the underworld crown ocean, I'm afraid it's even bigger. It's too late to take a detour. Yao Zishuan said. What you said makes sense. We must think of a way. Yao Jiutian said. Both of them revealed a look of deep thought. Suddenly, look! An exclamation broke the silence. Following the voice and looking over, everyone's expression changed drastically as they secretly cursed. Only to see, behind the flying boats, strands of blood-red underworld crown aura rushed over. In the blink of an eye, it wrapped thousands of flying boats, forming a ball-shaped space. This space was shrinking rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing this scene, everyone's face turned pale. Their bodies trembled uncontrollably. It's over. It's over. The underworld crown aura wrapped us up. What to do? Are we all going to be buried here? How can this be? Why does this underworld crown aura have consciousness? Voices of despair resounded throughout the entire field. Father, what to do? Yao Zishuan also had no idea at this moment and asked. Let me try first. Yao Jiutian strode forward and stepped in front of the underworld crown aura. He stretched out his palm and aimed ahead. It was a slap. Buzz, a huge transparent palm condensed and formed. The pressure of the sage realm spread all around from the transparent palm, blasting until the surrounding space was distorted. When this scene appeared, the people who were originally in despair were all pulled back to reality. Everyone's eyes were all staring at that transparent palm. As expected of the monarch, this horrifying pressure actually tore the space apart. It's too scary. Amazing. With the monarch here, this underworld crown aura is nothing. This slap will definitely disperse the underworld crown aura, right? All hopes were pinned on the transparent palm released by Yao Jiutian. Buzz, the transparent palm became bigger and bigger. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped heaven and earth. Boom! A loud sound was deafening. A dazzling white light enveloped the entire scene. Everyone closed their eyes and covered their ears, not daring to look at him. It was a long time. Only then did they gradually open their eyes. Seeing the scene before him, he could not help but widen his eyes in disbelief. How is this possible? It can't be, right? Such a terrifying palm was actually unable to disperse the underworld crown energy? In that case, the nether crown energy has become even stronger. What should we do? It's over, we're completely done for. Everyone muttered to themselves as they stared at the approaching nether crown energy with despair written all over their faces. Yao Jiutian looked at the underworld crown chi with a solemn expression. Reining in his emotions, he swept his gaze across the crowd. Everyone, pay attention. Those with strength above the demon saint realm, come to my side immediately and deal with this nether crown energy together. Hurry up, don't just stand there. If we're late, we won't be able to make it. Yao Jiutian's voice was like thunder, blasting into everyone's ears. Immediately after, several figures appeared in front of Yao Jiutian after stepping through the air. There were more than 100 of them, and each of them had reached the martial sage level. Monarch, please instruct. Monarch, please arrange it. At this moment, everyone gathered together. Chapter 587. Listen to my command. Extract your own monster power and gather it towards me, quickly. Yao Jiutian's voice was like thunder, clearly reaching everyone's ears. Yes. The orderly voice broke the world. A group of beast saints moved together, frantically extracting their own power. The demonic powers of different colors formed into 5 colored threads that surged toward Yao Jiutian at a rapid speed. Yao Jiutian revealed a dignified look. His hands formed a seal and his mouth muttered. These monster power quickly drilled into Yao Jiutian's body. Kacha, a burst of joint-cracking sounds resounded through the world. Yao Jiutian's clothes burst apart, his whole body rapidly grew taller, quickly becoming stronger. In the blink of an eye, he changed into a giant with a height of 100,000 meters, who, on his body there was a 10-colored light, so bright that people could not open their eyes. The surging aura, like a shock wave, spread around. It looked like Yao Jiutian was like a 10-colored giant standing proudly in the sky. Howl! Yao Jiutian looked up to the sky and roared, piercing through the 9 heavens. The terrifying power blasted towards the underworld crown chi above his head. Boom! Boom! The loud noise continued, the sky seemed to be about to collapse. The terrifying power, in everyone's eyes, could not help but feel a tingling in their scalp. On a flying boat, Sun Wukong looked at Yao Jiutian, frowning, his face solemn. This power, even if I, old Sun, encounter it, I will definitely be crushed, and my soul will dissipate. If you can find my monster power, then there is no need to fear. However, this terrifying power actually can't disperse the underworld crown chi. What is this underworld crown chi made of? How can it have such power? Sun Wukong muttered to himself, his eyes fixed on Yao Jiutian. At this moment, Yao Jiutian also stood in place. He looked at the rapidly shrinking underworld crown chi, his brows furrowed. The power of everyone gathered, but still could not break the underworld crown chi. Is there no other way? Is my life going to end here? If I knew earlier, I would have spent some saint essence crystals to open the teleportation array. Yao Jiutian thought to himself, and a hint of regret flashed across his face. In the underworld crown chi, any space secret technique was useless. Once contaminated by the underworld crown chi, there was only one possibility: being devoured. Do I have to use that move? Yao Jiutian frowned and looked like he was in deep thought. That move was his trump card. Until now, no one knew about it. Even if they knew, they were no longer in this world. There's no other way. Come! Yao Jiutian muttered to himself as a ruthless expression appeared on his face. He stretched out a finger and blasted it towards the underworld crown energy. The moment he pointed his finger, the sky instantly lost its color. All the light dissipated at this moment, and everyone could only see a giant finger shining in the sky. This finger glowed faintly, but it exuded an irresistible might. This is the sky-crushing sage finger. What? The legendary lost number 1 secret technique of the demon race, heaven-breaking sage finger? Oh my god! To think that the country king had hidden such a move. This is too amazing. The sky-crushing sacred finger can unleash tens of times more power. We're saved now. Great! The light of expectation flashed in everyone's eyes. All hope was concentrated on the finger that Yao Jiutian had released. Phew! The sky-crushing sage finger quickly blasted forward. The finger cut through the sky, emitting light like a comet streaking across. Crack! Cracks appeared on the underworld crown energy as it rapidly broke apart. Under the bombardment of the sky-crushing sage finger, the underworld crown energy quickly retreated. Buzz! A roar shook heaven and earth. In the underworld crown energy, an incomparably huge passage appeared in front of everyone. At first glance, it looked like a passage leading to the outside world. It's broken. We have hope. As expected of the country king. Who can compare with this method? I can't. My knees are about to fall. The light of worship swept over Yao Jiutian. The Blue Moon Kingdom's princess, Qin Luoyue, looked at Yao Jiutian with an uncertain expression. I didn't expect that the country king had hidden such a method. This is a little interesting, Qin Luoyue thought to herself, and the corner of her mouth raised into a faint smile. A blood-red light flashed in her eyes. On the other side, Yao Zishuan looked at Yao Jiutian, and the light of worship kept shining. Father, I didn't expect you to have practiced the sky-crushing sage finger to the small realm. If this goes on, in less than 100,000 years, you will be able to practice it to the great realm. At that time, who can be your opponent? Yao Zishuan kept nodding, her face full of joy. Yao Jiutian didn't care about this. He turned around and looked at everyone with a solemn expression. Everyone, pay attention. Immediately go through the passage and escape from here. This sentence woke everyone up from their stupor. At this moment, they just realized that they were in danger. Tap tap, the sound of hurried footsteps rang out. Everyone quickly ran into the flying boat. However, before they ran a few steps, they stood in place and stared behind Yao Jiutian with incredulous eyes. Everyone's body trembled uncontrollably. Yao Jiutian looked at this scene, and his face was full of doubt. A sense of uneasiness was written on his face. Turning around, his pupils constricted and his expression changed drastically. Only to see, in front of him, a large hand formed by the underworld crown energy covered the sky and slapped down at Yao Jiutian. Yao Jiutian's 100,000 body was like an ant in front of this large hand. The passage that he blasted out earlier had long disappeared. How could this be? Damn it, fight! Yao Jiutian roared in a low voice, muttered some words, extended his finger, and blasted at the giant hand in the sky. Heaven and earth trembled, the sun and moon changed color. Two terrifying powers intertwined in an instant. Immediately, boom, a loud sound shook the mountains and rivers, and the water vapor evaporated. The entire space was shattering into pieces. Yao Jiutian's body was like a kite with a broken string, flying out and slamming into the ground. It took a lot of time before he struggled to get up. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out of Yao Jiutian's mouth. He raised his head and looked at the blood-red hand that covered the sky, revealing a solemn expression. "Who the hell are you?" Yao Jiutian asked. Hee. A sneer resounded through the entire world and clearly entered everyone's ears. "You are not qualified to know my name." The voice was not loud, but it was full of momentum. When this voice reached everyone's ears, their faces turned pale. "All of you, stay here for this seat." After this voice, the large hand that covered the sky directly pressed down. The terrifying power made everyone's expression change greatly. "It's over, this time it's really over. What kind of existence is it? Why do you want to destroy us?" "I'm not willing." At this moment, the voice of despair resounded throughout the world. In front of such a powerhouse, any struggle was futile. Chapter 588. Yao Jiutian roared, and a gray-white fire ignited all over his body. His aura expanded rapidly. The world trembled violently, and the sound of explosions continued. The terrifying power quickly rushed to his hands, and two gray-white palms quickly condensed into shape. These two palms joined together and blasted toward the big hand in the sky. Boom! There was a loud noise. A shock wave surged in all directions in a ball shape. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped the whole world. Boom! Yao Jiutian's huge body flew backward uncontrollably and slammed into the ground. He struggled for a long time and couldn't stand up. Blood flowed from his body, dyeing his whole body red. He looked back at the void, his face full of unwillingness. The king burned his chi and blood and couldn't stop it. "It seems that we are completely finished. Who will save us?" This nether crown chi turned out to be such a monster. The voice of despair resounded throughout the world. The blood-red big hand pressed down more and more, and the pressure came. Everyone was trapped in a quagmire and couldn't move at all. They could only wait for death to come, and they couldn't do anything. The sky was getting darker and darker. The big hand covered the entire sun, and it was impossible to see the surroundings clearly. It seemed that the big hand covering the sky was about to slap everyone into powder. However, the big hand covering the sky suddenly stopped in the sky and did not fall. There was a sound. All the nether crown chi surged rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, it formed a blood-red giant. The giant's height couldn't be seen at all. It was like a planet standing in front of everyone. Not dead? What happened? My God, such a big giant, it's terrifying. Why did he stop? What's going on? Everyone muttered to themselves, puzzled. In their eyes, the blood-colored giant shrank rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Soon after, it changed to the size of a normal person. Plop, a sound of kneeling resounded through the world. Following the direction of the blood-colored giant's kneeling, everyone saw that the direction he was kneeling was where Sun Hao was. They saw. Sun Hao was standing there calmly, staring at the blood-colored giant. This stare directly frightened the blood-colored giant, and his face changed drastically. "Say, Senior, I know my mistake. I really didn't know you were here, please forgive me." His voice was sincere and his words were straightforward. Everyone's eyes widened in disbelief when they heard this. What? How could such a terrifying grand cultivator address demonic forefather Li Hua as senior? Did I hear that right? This terrifying almighty being is at least a holy spirit, right? Is he afraid of the Li Fire demonic forefather? Dream, I must be dreaming. Voices of disbelief resounded throughout the world. Yao Jiutian changed to the size of a normal person and looked back at Sun Hao with an uncertain expression on his face. Qin Luoyue looked at Sun Hao, and a trace of surprise flashed in her eyes. In her beautiful eyes the light flowed, and the corners of her mouth raised. No one knew what she was thinking. Is he really the Li Fire demonic ancestor? Yao Zishuan looked at Sun Hao and muttered to herself. At this moment, Sun Hao became the focus of everyone's eyes. Sun Hao's face was calm, but his heart was actually panicking. This crimson giant was at least a holy spirit. Killing him would be a piece of cake. However, why did he have to be so afraid of her? Do you really not know, or are you pretending? As soon as this sound came out, the crimson giant's body trembled, and panic was written all over his face. Say, Senior, I really don't know. If I knew you were here, I wouldn't dare even if I had 10,000 gut. The crimson giant quickly kowtowed. Forget it this time, there won't be a next time. Sun Hao's voice was cold, as if he would start a massacre if it was not good. Yes, Senior, don't worry, I will leave immediately. After speaking, the crimson giant turned around, turned into a bloody cloud, and disappeared into the sky. Seeing this scene, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. On their faces there was a joy of surviving a disaster. Too terrifying, I didn't expect there to be a holy spirit in this world. Yeah, it's really scary. What is the realm of demonic forefather Li Hua? Just one sentence and the Holy Spirit was scared to death? It's far beyond our imagination. It's absolutely unfathomable. If it weren't for demonic forefather Li Hua today, we would have been turned into ashes. Yeah, thanks to demonic forefather Li Hua. Everyone looked at Sun Hao, and their gratitude was overflowing. Sun Hao didn't care about these gazes. He looked at the disappearing blood cloud in the sky and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Why would such a strong person be afraid of me? It doesn't make sense at all. With his strength, it should be a matter of one finger to destroy me. Could it be that he couldn't see through my realm, so he used a delaying tactic, and then came back to test me? Thinking of this, a wave of uneasiness surged through his body. This thought just came up. The sky shook, and a group of blood clouds rushed over and stood in the sky. The surging aura sprinkled down from the sky, enveloping everyone. The crowd, who had just shown joy, once again sank into hell and fell into endless despair. What's going on? He's back again? Could it be just a test just now? Look, it seems so. He must have been unable to see through the realm of demonic forefather Li Hua, so he left first. He didn't see demonic forefather Li Hua chasing after him, and now he's back again. The sound of trembling resounded all around. Everyone's eyes were staring at the blood red, and their faces were full of horror. The blood cloud fell rapidly and turned into a blood-red giant, standing in the sky. He stretched out two huge hands, shaking the sky and making it hum and tremble. He aimed at the crowd and blasted down. The terrifying power made everyone's face change dramatically. It's over. Even Sun Hao could only think of these two words at this moment. Sun Hao stood there, calmly looking at the blood-red giant, motionless. His heart seemed to jump out of his throat, extremely uncomfortable. Buzz, the world trembled. The two giant hands stopped in midair, saluting Sun Hao with cupped fists. Senior, this little one came back again because someone asked me to tell you something, the blood-red giant said. Hearing this, Sun Hao secretly breathed a sigh of relief. What's the matter? Sun Hao asked. A divine sense voice transmission flew into Sun Hao's ear quickly. Senior, someone asked me to tell you that there is something you left behind in the battlefield of the strange battle. You must go and get it. Hearing these two sentences, Sun Hao frowned slightly. He also released the divine sense voice transmission. Who? Sun Hao asked. Senior, you can't say it, or the heavenly law will know everything. You just need to get that thing, and you will understand a lot of things. Senior, this little one will leave first. After speaking, the blood-red giant once again turned into a blood mist and disappeared into the sky. Chapter 589. Who told him to tell me? Dao Qingyang? Sun Hao muttered to himself, thinking secretly. The closer he got to the truth, the more confused he became. Many of his thoughts were completely different from the truth. No matter what, he had to go to the alien battlefield. Gone? You scared me to death. I thought they were here to kill us. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and thank the demonic ancestor Li Hua. This sound woke everyone up with a start. Everyone calmed down and stared at Sun Hao. Then, all of them cupped their fists and bowed. Thank you for saving my life, demonic ancestor Li Hua. The sound of gratitude shook the world. Everyone's faces were brimming with gratitude. There's no need to be so polite. I didn't do anything. After Sun Hao glanced at Goku, he waved his sleeves lightly and disappeared silently. The demonic ancestor Li Hua is indeed a mighty figure. His breadth of mind can accept anything. With the help of the demonic ancestor Li Hua, it won't be a problem for us to reach the heaven realm. Yes. Everyone looked at the direction in which Sun Hao disappeared, and the light of worship lingered for a long time. Yao Jiutian collected his thoughts and looked at everyone. He said, Everyone, pay attention. Let's go. Everyone quickly ran back to the flying boat. Qian Zhou turned into a rainbow and disappeared into the distance. In the room of a flying boat, Sun Hao sat cross-legged in the middle. Buzz, with a wave of his right hand, countless formation runes appeared in the surroundings, enveloping the entire room tightly. Now, even if Yao Jiutian's spiritual force swept into his room, he would only see that he was resting with his eyes closed. The power of faith is growing faster and faster. To think that I have accumulated so much power of faith over the past few days. It should be enough for me to make a breakthrough to Saint Realm 5 Dan, right? Sun Hao's mind swept into the soul space. Looking at the endless power of faith, his eyes couldn't help but widen. Phew! With a thought. These power of faith turned into wisps of pale white light, flew out of the soul space, and drilled into Sun Hao's body. Sizzle, the surging power hit Sun Hao's meridians like a tsunami. A wave of pain came from the meridians, and Sun Hao gasped in pain. However, this kind of pain came quickly and went away even faster. Under the power of faith, his meridians rapidly strengthened. Not only that, flesh, tendons, bones, organs, under the tempering of the power of faith, it was also rapidly becoming stronger. Sensing these changes, Sun Hao couldn't help but widen his eyes, revealing incredible surprise. He didn't expect the power of faith to be so strong. His physical body could actually be strengthened. Gotcha! In just an instant, the realm membrane that enveloped Sun Hao's body broke apart. At this moment, he had reached the fourth layer Saint Realm. However, the power of faith seemed to be endless, and it continued to surge forward. Sun Hao closed his eyes, opened his mouth wide, and couldn't help but cry out in comfort. At this moment, there was no pain, only endless comfort. Physical body, mental state, soul, realm, under the tempering of this power, they were rapidly growing stronger. Sun Hao was quietly grateful, showing a look of enjoyment with his eyes closed. Not long after, Kacha, another sound of the barrier of cultivation breaking rang out. Sun Hao reached the 5th level of the Saint Realm. The remaining power of faith, which still had 90% left, continued to rush in Sun Hao's various meridians. An hour later, Kacha, a sound rang out. Sun Hao reached the 6th level of the Saint Realm. At this moment, Sun Hao opened his eyes, and a touch of joy was written all over his face. My current physical body has been upgraded by another level. Now, even if it is a supreme sacred weapon, I can catch it with my bare hands. The 6th level of the Saint Realm, not bad. Now, even if it is Yao Jiutian, I can crush him just by relying on the realm. Sun Hao muttered to himself and took back his mood. With a wave of his right hand, the array arranged around the room flew back and disappeared into the palm of his hand. With his strength greatly increased, Sun Hao was full of confidence. He looked for a room and walked out. Senior. At the door, Yao Jiutian was standing there, saluting Sun Hao respectfully. Sun Hao was slightly startled, looked at Yao Jiutian, and said, "What's the matter?" Yao Jiutian looked around, showing an expression of wanting to speak but hesitating. "Senior, can I go in and talk?" Yao Jiutian asked. "Okay." Sun Hao nodded. The two walked back into the house. After the door was closed, Yao Jiutian laid down layers of restrictions, and after confirming that there was no problem, he knelt down in front of Sun Hao. "Senior, please spare my life." Yao Jiutian's voice was sincere, and his attitude was respectful. Sun Hao stood there, full of doubts. Is this old guy crazy? Spare my life? Why beg for mercy? "You are?" Sun Hao asked. "Senior, in fact, the battlefield is far from as good as it seems," Yao Jiutian said. "What is in the battlefield?" Sun Hao asked. "Senior, I can't say, otherwise the heavenly Tao will sense it. At that time, all of our souls will fly away." Yao Jiutian's face showed a look of fear. "Then why are you looking for me?" Sun Hao asked. "Senior, you must not go to the battlefield," Yao Jiutian said with a solemn face. "Why?" "Senior, I can't say." Yao Jiutian showed a bitter expression on his face. "Okay, I know." Sun Hao nodded slightly. "Senior, then I will leave first. You must remember, never go to the battlefield." Until the door was closed, Yao Jiutian's warning voice came. Sun Hao returned to the room and sat down. His fingers tapped lightly on the table, revealing a thoughtful look. "What is in this battlefield? Why does Yao Jiutian want me not to go? He clearly knows that the blood-colored giant told me to go. What is his intention?" Sun Hao thought secretly, and for a while, he did not have any ideas. "Is it because there is something I left in the battlefield, and this Yao Jiutian wants to obtain my inheritance? Humph, I want to see what your intention is." Thinking like this, Sun Hao released his divine sense and enveloped the entire flying boat. Now that his spiritual force had been strengthened, even Yao Jiutian could not compare to him. Releasing divine sense, Yao Jiutian may not be able to sense it. "Hey, someone is coming?" Sun Hao looked startled and quickly retracted his divine sense. Dong dong. There was a knock on the door. "Senior Li Hua, are you inside?" The clear voice of a woman rang out. Creak, the door opened. What was printed in front of Sun Hao was Qin Luoyue in a white dress. She twisted her curvaceous body and slowly took 2 steps forward. Facing Sun Hao, she bowed and saluted. "Thank you, Senior Li Hua, for saving my life." Qin Luoyue looked grateful. "No need to be so polite, I didn't do anything," Sun Hao said faintly. "Senior, you are too modest. You can scare away the Holy Spirit with your identity alone, which makes this little girl admire you very much, and uncontrollably came to disturb you." Qin Luoyue said. Miss Luoyue, you didn't come here just to say these polite words to me, did you? Sun Hao said. When these words came out, Qin Luoyue looked startled. Chapter 590. A faint smile appeared on Qin Luoyue's delicate face. Just one look at it would make one feel at ease. Senior, you're right. I do have something to tell you. Would it be convenient for me to come in? Qin Luoyue's attitude was sincere. Every sentence she spoke was neither too fast nor too slow. She was very graceful. Come in. Sun Hao nodded slightly. After the door was closed, Qin Luoyue looked around with a hesitant expression. Just say it, no one can hear you. Sun Hao said. Senior, I'll tell you then. Seeing Sun Hao nod, Qin Luoyue leaned forward 2 steps. Her whole body seemed to crash into Sun Hao's arms. The rabbit was so big that it pressed directly on Sun Hao's chest. Senior, you also know that I am the Princess of Blue Moon Kingdom. Only the royal family of my Blue Moon Kingdom knows this secret. Please don't leak this information, will you? Qin Luoyue whispered in Sun Hao's ear, making Sun Hao's ears itch. After saying this, Qin Luoyue took 2 steps back and lowered her head with a flushed face. She looked like a shy young girl, which made people's hearts beat faster. This was the seduction of naked Luo. Sun Hao turned a blind eye to all this. Tell me, I promise I won't leak it out. Sun Hao said. What a fool. Qin Luoyue muttered to herself. Then, a solemn expression appeared on his face. Senior, this information concerns the alien battlefield, Qin Luoyue said. Battlefield? Sun Hao looked puzzled. That's right. Qin Luoyue nodded. My Blue Moon Nation's old ancestor participated in a strange war. He accidentally entered a mountain range and encountered a terrifying surge of energy there. I was almost smashed to pieces. Fortunately, old Ancestor was lucky and survived. After he returned, he drew a sketch and recorded the mountain range. Later, the Patriarch flipped through countless books and confirmed that the terrifying energy region was actually a land of inheritance, Qin Luoyue said. Sun Hao was slightly startled. Whose inheritance? Qin Luoyue said, Senior, if the ancestor's guess is correct, that inheritance land is likely to be the inheritance left behind by the Dao ancestor. What? Is it really the inheritance I left behind? This little girl wouldn't lie to him, right? Sun Hao looked at Qin Luoyue and nodded secretly when he saw the clear and flawless light in her eyes. Dao Father? Are you sure you're not mistaken? Sun Hao asked. Senior, this is only my guess. I'm not sure if it's true. I can't guarantee anything, Qin Luoyue said. Then why did you tell me this news? Sun Hao asked. Senior. Qin Luoyue lowered her head and revealed an embarrassed expression. Senior, I would like to invite you to the Dao Ancestors' inheritance ground to open the inheritance together. Senior, don't worry. The inheritance inside belongs to you. You just need to reward me with some treasures. What do you think? Qin Luoyue looked at Sun Hao with a look of inquiry. Aren't you afraid that I will kill you now and take the map? Sun Hao asked. Qin Luoyue was taken aback for a moment, then her expression changed slightly. Senior, if you want to destroy me, you can do it with a flip of your hand. However, the map is engraved on my soul. No matter what you do, the map will be destroyed. It's impossible for you to get to the inheritance ground, Qin Luoyue said. Aren't you afraid that I will get the inheritance and destroy you again? Sun Hao said. Senior, with your mind, you will never do that. Qin Luoyue looked at Sun Hao and flattered him. Sun Hao smiled slightly and did not respond. Senior, then this matter is settled? Qin Luoyue asked. Yes. Sun Hao nodded. Senior, then this little girl will leave first. After speaking, Qin Luoyue retreated. Is there really my inheritance ground? Could it be that Yao Jiutian also knows that he doesn't let me go because he really wants to seize my inheritance? However, no matter how powerful your means are, you want to seize my inheritance? He Thinking about all this, Sun Hao relaxed. The inheritance he left behind, except for himself, it was tantamount to a dream for others to obtain it. Dong dong. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Sun Hao looked startled, walked to the door, and opened the door. Senior. Standing by the door, it was none other than Sun Wukong. When Sun Wukong saw Sun Hao, he knelt down and kowtowed. Come in and talk. When Sun Wukong followed in, Sun Hao waved his right hand and set up layers of restrictions. The scene of Sun Hao setting up restrictions was seen by Sun Wukong, and he couldn't help but widen his eyes, showing a face of worship. Plop, Sun Wukong knelt down again and began to kowtow. Senior, I have a request. Please help me and save my master. Sun Wukong said. Wukong, get up. Sun Hao's mind moved and changed into his original appearance. Seeing Sun Hao's change, Sun Wukong looked startled, and in his eyes the light flickered. Young master, you are here? Sun Wukong showed a look of disbelief, and his whole body trembled with excitement. Don't get excited. Sun Hao patted Sun Wukong's shoulder lightly. Tell me, why are you here? Young master, it's all because of our sealed demon power. Sun Wukong said. Your demon power is sealed here? Sun Hao asked. Yes. Sun Wukong nodded. If we didn't guess wrong, Old Man Tathagata sealed all our demon power in the battlefield. Another alien battlefield? What kind of place is the battlefield? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the battlefield is related to the heavenly Tao. Heavenly Tao? Sun Hao thought secretly with a solemn face. What is the heavenly Tao? It can actually create a battlefield. It seems that its strength is not simple. Can I be the opponent of the heavenly Tao? Young master, yes. However, I'm just guessing. Because no one can say anything about the heavenly Tao. If I, old Sun, am not mistaken, there is a shocking conspiracy in this battlefield. Sun Wukong said. In that case, do you know where Brother Ning and the others are? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I don't know either. They must have been caught by the Fire Phoenix Demon Kingdom and turned into sacrifices. Sun Wukong said. What is a sacrifice? Sun Hao asked. Young master, if you want to open the battlefield, you need incomparable energy. Every time the demon lord of each country opens the battlefield, they will catch some demon beasts with ancient bloodlines as sacrifices. Their demon crystals, souls, bodies will all be sacrificed. When the energy reaches a certain level, the battlefield can be opened. At that time, only those who participate in the battle can go in. Hearing this, Sun Hao clenched his fists, and in his eyes, 2 rays of killing light burst out. Damn it, you can actually sacrifice living people. Don't blame me for starting a massacre. Chapter 591. Demon Ancestral Realm, Entrance to the Battlefield. 2 statues stood in the air, their tops couldn't be seen at all. They looked like 2 giants confronting each other. In each statue's hands there was a huge transparent crystal ball. Its diameter was enough to cover half of the sky. Under the 2 statues there was a square stone plaza. One couldn't see the end at all. On this day, buzz, the air shook and rippled, and figures walked out from the ripples. After walking out, they flew directly to the plaza and stood under a red statue. The Misty Demon Kingdom is not here yet? It seems that Yao Lao is reluctant to spend money and came directly by flying boat. It's like this every time. This time, it seems that we will win again. Then there's no need to talk nonsense? Just Yao Lao and the others? Can they be our opponents? That's hard to say. Blue Moon Kingdom is on their side. So what, in front of absolute strength, what is a Blue Moon Kingdom? Suddenly, buzz, there was a tremor. There was a roar in the sky. A terrifying pressure pressed down from the sky. Thousands of figures walked out from the ripples. The leader was wearing a golden robe and a crown. Her outstanding temperament made people not dare to approach. She was the Fire Phoenix Demon Kingdom's monarch, Luo Qianling. Luo Qianling's gaze swept across, her majestic face without any expression. Those who were swept by her gaze lowered their heads, not daring to look at her. "Greetings, monarch." Everyone knelt down and kowtowed. "Rise," Luo Qianling said faintly. The Empress's domineering aura was vividly displayed. "Thank you, monarch." Everyone got up and stood neatly around. Luo Qianling looked back and said, "How long until the battle begins?" "Monarch, there is still half a day." A minister stood up and said respectfully. Hearing this, Luo Qianling nodded slightly, the corner of her mouth raised into a faint smile. "Yao Jiutian, you won't be delayed, right? There is still half a day. If you don't arrive, how will you fight with me in the future? Even if you come this time, how will you fight with me? I will definitely fill the entire statue with energy this time." Luo Qianling murmured to herself, her face full of pride. Suddenly, her pupils shrank, her face showing a trace of surprise. "He's here." Just as he finished speaking, thousands of rainbows came from afar. They turned into flying boats and stopped in front of the statue. One figure after another flew out of the flying boat and landed on the other side of the square. Sun Hao stood quietly in the crowd, and Goku stood next to him. This time, Sun Hao changed his appearance again. Even if Yao Jiutian saw him, he might not be able to recognize him. Yao Jiutian led a group of people and soared into the sky, arriving before Luo Qianling with a solemn expression. "Luo Qianling, I didn't expect you to come so early. Looks like it'll be easy this time," Yao Jiutian said. "Haha," Luo Qianling faintly smiles. "Yao Jiutian, it seems like you're well prepared." Same here. After exchanging pleasantries, the two of them returned to their respective camps and stared at each other coldly. It was as if he wanted to see through the other party. Sun Hao watched the two people fight, his face expressionless. In his heart there was only killing intent. When the battle starts, if they dare to sacrifice their acquaintances, they will be slaughtered beyond redemption. Time passed little by little. Unknowingly, half a day has passed. Buzz, there was a vibration above their heads. The two huge statues seemed to be alive, opening their eyes at the same time. Two pairs of eyes, one blue and one red, seemed to be able to illuminate the whole world. Whoosh, red and blue light spurted out from the eyes of the huge statue, gathered together and quickly intertwined. Buzz, the space was distorted at an extreme speed, and the terrifying power poured down like the Milky Way, enveloping the entire square. At this moment, everyone seemed to be trapped in a quagmire, unable to move at all. Even their chests seemed to be crushed, and it was difficult to breathe. Except for Sun Hao, everyone closed their eyes, covered their ears, and showed a painful expression. Sun Hao narrowed his eyes, looking at the rapidly entwining light in the sky, and the corner of his mouth raised a cold smile. Buzz, the trembling sound was getting louder and louder. The red and blue light intertwined at an extreme speed, and soon condensed into a white giant. The giant was 10,000 meters high, floating in the sky like a heavenly pillar. It gave everyone an inexplicable sense of oppression in their hearts. As soon as the coercion was withdrawn, everyone recovered. They looked up at the sky, and their faces were full of fear. Too terrifying, is this the clone of the Son of Heaven? Not only has he reached the 9th stage of the Demon Saint realm, he only needs a thought to smash us into pieces. Yes, the arrival of the Son of Heaven makes me feel inexplicably oppressed. Everyone muttered to themselves, and everyone stared at the white giant with a respectful face. The white giant glanced at the world, and finally fell on everyone. He looked down at the mortals like a god, looking coldly at everyone. The once-in-10,000 years battle is about to begin. As the Son of Heaven, I am here to preside over this battle. The party who wins will get the blessing of this seat's 10,000 years of luck, and at the same time, 3 saints can be promoted. As soon as these words came out, it was like a stone stirring up 1,000 ripples. The people who were afraid to speak suddenly burst like water into a pot of oil. What? If it can promote 3 saints, doesn't that mean I also have a chance? Wasn't there only one before? How come there are 3 this time? My luck is so good. I must work hard and strive to become one of them. Everyone's face showed a look of excitement. The temptation of the sage realm could make them lose their minds. After a long time, the whole scene gradually quieted down. When the whole scene was quiet, the white giant continued to speak. Are the offerings ready? The white giant stared at Luo Qianling and Yao Jiutian and asked. Ready. The 2 nodded at the same time, secretly competing. Since you are ready, then get ready to charge the ancient sage body. How much you can charge will be how much you will get when you enter the battlefield. Let's begin. The white giant said. Yes. The 2 cupped their fists and bowed. Phew, they flew back to their own camps. The 2 of them turned into 2 streams of light and flew to the top of the statue. Not long after, the 2 stood at an altitude of 10,000 meters, clouds surging under their feet. Above the clouds, 2 huge heads, like 2 ferocious beasts, made people dare not look at them. Phew, Yao Jiutian let out a long sigh and calmed down. Then, he waved his right hand. Buzz, in front of him, there were layers of ripples. One after another, huge beasts were summoned from the ripples, quietly floating in front of him. Chapter 592. Roar! A roar shook the 9 heavens. Layers of ripples shook in the sky, and the entire space was recovering in the rupture and shattering in the recovery. The terrifying power made people's scalp numb. Everyone squinted their eyes and looked at the sky. Their pupils shrank and their faces showed great shock. They saw a giant elephant with a height of 10,000 meters standing in the sky, struggling wildly. The giant elephant's whole body emitted dazzling golden light. The giant elephant's limbs were penetrated by 4 huge iron chains. Voila! Every time it struggled, a harsh friction sound broke out. When it reached the ears, the hair all over the body stood up, and it was extremely uncomfortable. However, no matter how the giant elephant struggled, it was useless. Everyone looked at this scene, and all of them showed a look of surprise. What? Divine elephant! This is the divine elephant bloodline that disappeared for millions of years, and now it can still be seen. This terrifying momentum is really scary. The king is powerful. You can actually capture the ancient divine elephant. On the Misty Demon Kingdom side, everyone exclaimed. On the Fire Phoenix Demon Kingdom side, everyone shook their heads and sighed, focusing their eyes on Luo Qianling, quietly waiting for her to make a move. The white giant looked at the huge divine elephant and nodded calmly. Luo Qianling glanced at Yao Jiutian, who had a smug face, and the corners of her mouth rose slightly, a touch of pride written all over her face. Luo Qianling waved her right hand and a light fell from the sky. Immediately afterward, a 20,000 meters tall Zhu Ganglai appeared in front of everyone. Zhu Ganglia's hair was like a hard diamond barb, emitting a dazzling cold light. However, compared with the divine elephant, it was not much better. A golden thread, as thin as a thumb, ran through its whole body, tying it up like a dumpling. No matter how it struggled, it was useless. Roar! Zhu Ganglai could only make bursts of sorrow, and he couldn't even spit out a word of human language. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's eyes. Everyone looked at Zhu Ganglai with a shocked expression. Damn it! Goku secretly cursed, and when he was about to lift his stick, he was pressed behind by a big hand. It was Sun Hao who made a move. Don't worry, Sun Hao said. Sun Hao's words calmed Goku down. Yes, young master. Goku nodded. Around the 2 of them, there were sounds of discussion. This is Zhu Ganglai, an ancient peerless demon. I didn't expect that we would actually be able to see him. This Fire Phoenix monarch is truly impressive. To be able to capture such a great demon, truly impressive. What should we do? Such a great demon is equivalent to several divine elephants. On the other side, it was a completely different scene. Haha, the king actually captured Zhu Ganglai. This time, we will definitely win. That's for sure. The monarch's martial arts are unparalleled. Who can compare to him? The monarch is mighty. Our admiration is like a surging river, rolling endlessly. The sound of flattery continued to ring out. When Luo Qianling heard this, a smug smile unconsciously appeared on her face. When the white giant saw Zhu Ganglai, a hint of joy flashed through his eyes. Yao Jiutian looked at Zhu Ganglai and was slightly startled, but he quickly recovered. The corners of his mouth curled up. With a wave of his hand, rays of light descended from the sky. Immediately afterward, many divine elephants were scattered in the air above the square. There were at least thousands of them. Such a scene stunned everyone on the spot. Their mouths were wide open, revealing unbelievable surprise. My God, so many divine elephants! How can there be so many ancient bloodline demon beasts? It's over, it's over. This time, the Misty Demon Kingdom will win for sure. The exclamations were incessant and for a while, they couldn't stop at all. Everyone's eyes were staring at the sky. Luo Qianling looked at the sky, opened her small mouth, and looked surprised. Subsequently, the corners of her mouth curled up into a faint smile. With a wave of her right hand, wisps of red light soared into the sky and floated in the void. Chirp, the cries pierced through the sky. Crimson flames sprinkled down from the sky, so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. The pressure was like waves, vibrating down layer by layer, pressing down on everyone, and they couldn't help but tremble. Only to see. Divine luans filled the sky, covering the firmament. The number was so many that there were tens of thousands. Each divine luan exuded the aura of the ancient divine luan bloodline, making people not dare to approach. Similarly, every divine luan was covered with golden threads of light, enveloping their whole body. They let out bursts of screams, seemingly in extreme pain. However, even with all their strength, they couldn't break free. What kind of monster is this? This pressure is too terrifying. God, this is a divine phoenix. Such a terrifying divine phoenix bloodline. These divine phoenixes are all atavistic. What? Divine phoenix? My God, the sacrifice of the fire phoenix demon kingdom is actually a divine phoenix. This is completely crushing the divine elephant. This time, my fire phoenix demon kingdom will definitely win. Sun Hao looked at the divine luans in the sky and couldn't help but squint his eyes. Senior Yuli. A touch of killing intent flashed in Sun Hao's eyes. He clenched his fists and then slowly loosened them. He looked at Luo Qianling as if looking at a dead person. Young master, do you want to make a move? Sun Wukong asked in a low voice. Don't worry, it's not time yet, Sun Hao said. And Sun Wukong nodded slightly, suppressing the anger in his heart. The white giant looked at these divine luans, and finally, his eyes stared directly at Huang Yuli. Infinitely close to the demon saint realm, not bad, not bad. The white giant nodded with satisfaction, and let out a burst of admiration. Luo Qianling listened to these words, her eyes bloomed with a strange light, and her face was full of pride. Humph! Yao Jiutian snorted coldly. Luo Qianling, you're well prepared. It seems that you're determined to win this time. Ha ha! Luo Qianling grinned. Yao Jiutian, same here, you're well prepared this time. However, it seems that you're going to fail this time, Luo Qianling said. Humph, don't be too proud too early. After speaking, Yao Jiutian waved his right hand. Rays of light flew out from his palm and scattered in all directions. Squeak! A cry piercing the world. A crimson golden crow filled the surroundings. Each one emitted a crimson light, so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. However, each one was bound and couldn't break free. However, this was not the end, as if it had just begun. Heavenly foxes, covering the world. Each heavenly fox has 9 tails, gently shaking, as if the space was about to break. Among the heavenly foxes, Hulaina was among them. Then, there were all kinds of ancient demon beasts, covering the entire world. The number was so many that it was impossible to count. When Luo Qianling saw this scene, the corner of her mouth twitched slightly, and she didn't hide her surprise. Then, the corner of her mouth raised. Fortunately, this lord is well prepared, otherwise you'll really win this time. Chapter 593. He, Luo Qianling, it's your turn now. Yao Jiutian looked at Luo Qianling and said with a smile. That confidence was not concealed. Yao Jiutian looked up at the white giant and saw the surprise on his face. The complacency was even more obvious. Yao Jiutian, isn't it too early to be happy? You win in quantity, but I have to win you in quality. After speaking, Luo Qianling waved her right hand. A ray of golden light rose directly into the sky and fell in the sky, growing bigger and bigger. Immediately afterward, a 10,000-meter-tall Vajra Arhat appeared in front of everyone. The vast power of Vajra rushed out from the Vajra Arhat, illuminating the world. The Vajra Arhat's body was also covered with filaments, directly pinched into the flesh. Little junior brother. Seeing this Vajra Arhat, Sun Wukong couldn't help but exclaim, and his fists clenched. He looked at Sun Hao and then unwillingly released his fist. What? Buddhist disciple? Such a character can even be captured. The king is really powerful. I'm going to worship under the king's skirt. The exclamations continued. The corner of Luo Qianling's mouth raised slightly, and then she waved her right hand again. The sky trembled. 2 huge figures covered the sky. A golden dragon was bound in midair. The huge golden dragon circled around like a guardian, protecting a shocking beast. This giant beast had a head like a dragon, a body like a tiger, and a tail like a phoenix. It grinned and roared, shaking the sky. The whole world dimmed in an instant. As soon as these 2 monster beasts appeared, it immediately caused a burst of exclamation. That's a dragon with the bloodline of the dragon god, my ancestor. Incredible, unimaginable, such a terrifying dragon was captured by the king. What kind of existence is the king? It seems to be only at the demon emperor realm, but it can produce the pressure of the demon saint realm. It's too terrifying. It seems to be guarding that monster beast. What kind of monster beast is that? I know. A cry of exclamation attracted everyone's attention. Everyone looked at the man and listened to him in detail. This is the famous heaven-swallowing sacred beast in ancient times. As soon as these words came out, the surroundings became deathly silent. Everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. That kind of disbelief, that kind of shock, could not be described with word. What? Heaven-devouring sacred beast? Oh my God! Didn't they perish a long time ago? How can I still see them? This is the legendary heaven-devouring sacred beast? Unbelievable! That's too fearsome. That roar earlier should only have the might of a level 5 sage. He's still restricted. If he wasn't restricted, how strong would he be? Unimaginable. Unbelievable. Such a voice resounded throughout the arena. In the end, everyone's gaze landed on Luo Qianling. Just how powerful was Luo Qianling to be able to subdue such a sacred beast? It was unimaginable. Their worshipful gazes swept over Luo Qianling. He couldn't stop for a while. Sun Hao looked at the heaven-swallowing sacred beast, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. This heaven-swallowing sacred beast was none other than Ning Mingji's body. Wasn't his true form golden cicada? How did it become a heaven-devouring sacred beast? Or was he the incarnation of the heaven-devouring sacred beast? Young Master, Master's true form is the heaven-swallowing sacred beast, but he is seriously injured now. Unexpectedly, Master has reached the 3rd stage of the Sage Realm, and he must have recovered some of his demon power. With Master's strength, There is no problem for him to fight the 8th stage of the Sage Realm, but he was also restrained. Presumably, that woman is not simple. Goku sent out a divine sense voice transmission, which was clearly transmitted to Sun Hao's ears. Sun Hao listened to this and frowned secretly. In this way, didn't that Luo Qianling's strength was at least the 9th stage of the Sage Realm? There was also the White Giant, whose realm couldn't be seen at all. Could it be a Holy Spirit? Thinking of this, Sun Hao shuddered. Holy Spirit, right? I can use you to test my current strength. Sun Hao thought secretly. Young master, do you want to make a move? Goku asked. No hurry, that Luo Qianling should still have offerings that haven't been released. When she releases all of them, we will make a move. Sun Hao said. Okay, young master. Goku nodded slightly. The White Giant looked at the heaven-swallowing sacred beast with surprise written all over his face. He kept nodding and looked at Luo Qianling with satisfaction. Good job, is there anything else? Master, there is more. After speaking, Luo Qianling waved her right hand again. Two pink lights flew out of Luo Qianling's hands. Kacha, a burst of joints cracking sounded. 2 pink cherry trees up to 100,000 meters tall covered the sky, and at a glance, the top could not be seen at all. When the wind blew, the fragrance of flowers wafted around. With a light sniff, the fragrance hit the nose, making people feel comfortable and comfortable all over. These 2 cherry trees shook their bodies frantically. However, the golden silk threads wrapped around them, and they couldn't break free at all. This is a world tree, and it's the best cherry spirit world tree. Didn't this kind of peerless world tree perish long ago? I can actually see it at this moment. My God! Today's shock is really wave after wave, the king is too great. They are all peerless monsters, almost all of them are going to be seen today. Exclamations kept ringing. The light of worship swept towards Luo Qianling. Sun Hao looked at Xiao Fun and Xiao Fang in the sky and couldn't help but clench his fist. Damn it! Sun Hao secretly cursed, killing intent brewing in his chest, as if his body was about to explode. Huang Yoli, Hu Laina, Xiao Fun, Xiao Fang, Ning Mingji and his disciples, and many great monsters of Demon Ancestral Mountain. At this moment, the people of Demon Ancestral Mountain were almost all present. Yao Jiutian looked at these great monsters, and for a while, he couldn't calm down at all. So many great monsters, each of them was peerless, and the energy contained was like the sea, completely inexhaustible. The Fire Phoenix Demon Kingdom could completely crush him. What should he do? Was he going to lose this battle again? Yao Jiutian's face was full of unwillingness. The White Giant looked at these, and his face was full of joy. Not bad, really well done. The White Giant looked at Luo Qianling, his face full of praise. Your Excellency is overpraising. Luo Qianling nodded slightly and cupped her fists. Anything else? The White Giant asked. Your Excellency, no. Luo Qianling said. The White Giant turned to look at Yao Jiutian and asked, What about you? Yao Jiutian shook his head unwillingly. Your Excellency, no more. If that's the case, are you all ready? I'm going to start. The White Giant said. Your Excellency, ready. The two nodded in unison. Good. The corner of the White Giant's mouth raised, his hands waved, and his mouth muttered. Wisps of white light flew out from his hands, directly covering the 2 huge statues. However, in the next second, the White Giant's face changed drastically. Presumptuous! A loud sound broke through the sky and earth. Chapter 594. Attack! A loud shout resounded through heaven and earth. Then, Kacha, the sound of chains breaking rang out. The golden threads binding Ning Mingji and the others all burst open. Everyone regained their freedom at this moment. Chirp, a chirp resounded through heaven and earth. Luo Qianling shook her body and turned into a 9 heavens god Luan. Saint-level aura surged up from her body and whistled through the 9 heavens. Chirp, with a chirp, Wisps of golden light came from Luo Qianling. No, it should be more accurate to say it was Yingyu. Wisps of golden light spurted out from Yingyu's mouth, aimed at the white giant and enveloped it. On the other side, pervert, emptiness is not different from color, color is not empty, Hanba or Sha Wujing was better. At this moment, he turned into a golden arhat, and the scriptures on his body flew up and enveloped him. These scriptures quickly piled up, and in less than a moment, they formed a huge golden Buddha. Buzz, the golden Buddha stretched out a big hand that covered the sky, smashed through the space, and pounced straight at the white giant. Eat this old pig's rake. Zhu Beiji transformed into Zhu Ganglai, raised the 9-foot rake, and slammed it down at the white giant. Hu Ning Mingji transformed into the heaven-swallowing sacred beast, stretched out his bloody mouth, and sucked hard at the white giant. Everyone attacked at once, so that the white giant could not react at all for a while. Presumptuous! The white giant's expression changed, and he burst out with a loud shout. He used his movement technique and was about to escape. Swish! The golden light in Yingyu's mouth quickly arrived, wrapped the white giant in an instant, and tied it up like a dumpling. You ants dare to fight against the heavens, courting death! The white giant let out an angry roar. His whole body glowed with white light, struggling wildly. Gotcha! The golden light was constantly squeezing, and it looked like it was about to break. At this time, boom, 100,000-meter-long 9-foot rake fell from the sky and directly hit the white giant's head. This rake caused the world to collapse, and the white giant's mind trembled. For a moment, he didn't wake up at all. Boom! A giant golden hand fell from the sky and slapped directly on the white giant's head. This slap made the world instantly lose its color, and the space shattered inch by inch. Terrifying shockwaves spread in all directions. Fortunately, there was a grand array protecting the plaza, so everyone was fine. They stared blankly at the sky, feeling as if their hearts had been struck by a heavy blow. Even Sun Hao looked startled at this moment, and his eyes flickered with uncertainty. He didn't expect that Luo Qianling was actually Yingyu. Even he himself was unable to see through his cloning ability. Previously, he was prepared to kill her. Now that he thought about it, it was really funny. Sun Wukong's eyes shone brightly as he looked at this. That's great. All 3 junior brothers have obtained some demonic energy. Young master, should we make a move? Goku looked at Sun Hao and asked in a low voice. There's no hurry. Sun Hao smiled slightly. He looked up at the sky and continued to watch them fight. Boom! There was another loud noise. The 9-toothed harrow pierced through the white giant's body and nailed it into the air. Damn it, damn it! A group of ants dares to fight against the heavens? All of you have completely infuriated me. Children, get up! The white giant roared towards the sky. Instantly, howl, the sky suddenly darkened. Black clouds rushed over, covering the sky so tightly that not even the wind could pass through. These black clouds rotated rapidly. Various colors of lightning kept galloping in the black clouds, bursting out with frightening power. Whoosh! All kinds of white light poured down from the black clouds. Buzz! Green giants with a height of 1,000 meters appeared in all directions. Each giant was covered with long green hair, which made people's hearts tremble. However, these green giants all exuded the aura of the Saint Realm. Together, like a tsunami, it rushed out. Pressing on Yingyu and the others, they couldn't help but tremble, and cold sweat dripped down. Children, kill them! With this sound, the green giants, like a running wild dog, rushed straight to the crowd. Seeing that they were about to pounce on the crowd. At this time, Little Fragrance and Little Fragrance released a pink halo. Vines sprang up from their bodies and pounced towards the green giant. Whoosh! The sound of breaking through the air resounded continuously. In less than a moment, all the green giants were bound. Howl! Howl! The green giants struggled frantically, trying to break free, but they couldn't break free even after exhausting all their strength. Buzz, the rattan squeezed tighter and tighter. Boom, the sound of explosions kept ringing. The green giants burst open one by one, exploding into blood foam. Green blood rain drifted out. It fell on the great array, burning the great array for a while, as if it was about to break apart. Such a scene directly scared everyone in place, revealing a look of disbelief. My God, tens of thousands of demon saints were killed in one move? Too terrifying. These two world trees are too powerful. What the hell happened? Why did the king attack the Son of Heaven? I have a bad premonition that something big is about to happen. On the other side of the sky, Yao Jiutian stared blankly at this scene, and for a while, he didn't come back to his senses. He gently wiped the sweat on his forehead with his hand, revealing a look of fear. She's not Luo Qianling. Who is she? She dares to fight against the Son of Heaven. She doesn't want to live. No, I have to get out of here as soon as possible. Thinking like this, Yao Jiutian looked at the offerings in front of him, waved his right hand, and prepared to put them into the soul space. The next second, his face changed, revealing a look of horror. He found that his soul space had lost contact with himself. Yao Jiutian was still in a daze for a moment. At this time, swish, a sound of breaking through the air rang out. Tens of thousands of rattan rushing over. Boom, in an instant, the vines shattered all the chains that bound the demon beasts. Yao Jiutian's face changed drastically when he saw this scene. Without thinking about it, he summoned the teleportation space, stepped forward, and wanted to step into it. However, swish, the sound of breaking through the air came quickly. Several rattan, in an instant, tied Yao Jiutian up like a dumpling. No matter how he struggled, it was futile. Dare to capture the person that the young master guards today, you will leave your life here. Xiaofan's killing intent rose. Xiaofan, give him to the young master to deal with. Don't kill people so easily. Xiaofang retorted. Being soft-hearted, really losing the name of our Azura twin saints. Besides, where is the young master? Xiaofan said. We will definitely meet in the future. At that time, just give it to the young master. Chapter 595. Swish, countless vines enveloped him from all directions. In an instant, the white giant was tied up like a rice dumpling. Dead thing, you have this day? Zhu Beiji waved the nine-toothed rake and hit the white giant again and again. Poochie, the sound of metal piercing flesh and blood kept ringing. Bloody holes penetrated the white giant's body. However, the white giant did not bleed, and the bloody holes on his body emitted white light. The wounds on his body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. After a while, Zhu Beiji gasped, looking at the white giant, and couldn't help but frown. This old guy can't be killed at all. I'm tired. I'll take a break first. Fourth junior brother, it's your turn now. Zhu Beiji flew back, changed to the size of a normal person, and watched from a distance. No problem. After Sha Wujing finished speaking, the giant Buddha in front of him quickly slapped his giant hands. Boom, every attack landed on the white giant's body. The white giant's chest was sunken, his body was distorted, and his appearance was extremely miserable. However, his recovery was also extremely fast. His body changed rapidly between distortion and normal. Fine beads of sweat overflowed from Sha Wujing's forehead. He stopped chanting, looked at the golden dragon floating in the sky, and said, Third senior brother, now it's your turn. Howl, a dragon's roar shook the world. The golden dragon flew away and stood in front of the white giant. Immediately afterward, he waved his claws and madly grabbed the white giant. Deep bone-visible tear marks covered the white giant's body. He struggled frantically as if he wanted to break free from the rattan bondage. However, he couldn't break free even after exhausting all his method. He couldn't even say a word. But the golden dragon's claws could penetrate the rattan and directly grab him. The white giant recovered from the injury and was injured in the recovery. The aura on his body was getting weaker and weaker. When the golden dragon rested, Ning Mingji continued to attack. In this way, the white giant's body gradually became illusory under the attacks of everyone. Everyone looked up at all this and murmured for a long time without spitting out a word. After a while, "My ancestor, the Son of Heaven, is going to be beaten to death. Too cruel, too terrible, who the hell are they? Yeah, I also want to know, what kind of existence is the young master they are talking about?" the crowd exclaimed as they watched the battle in the sky. "What's there to be surprised about? That's just a clone of the son of the heavenly Tao. Can they defeat him with his true body? That's right. They fought for so long with just a clone. If the main body came, would they be a match for it? They're dead for sure. They actually dared to provoke the son of the heavenly Tao. They're completely tired of living." There were also many voices of doubt. As the battle continued, the white giant grew weaker and weaker. Suddenly, an angry roar rang out. The vines binding the white giant's body suddenly ruptured one by one. "Damned ants, you've forced me to do this. Today I will grind your bones to dust, to resolve the hatred in my heart. Now, it's time to experience my wrath." After saying these words, few ripples appeared in the sky as beams of white light rained down from the sky, quickly enveloping the white giant. The white giant's aura grew at a visible rate. Buzz from the white giant's body, waves of spherical chi rippled out in all directions. The terrifying power blew Yu and the others far away, unable to approach at all. Seeing this scene, Yu's face changed drastically. "Not good. What's wrong? Senior Yu. This Taoist is about to break through and reach the Holy Spirit realm." As soon as these words came out, it was as if the 9 heavens' divine thunder had struck the top of everyone's head. Suddenly, their faces changed drastically, and cold sweat flowed from their foreheads. "What? Holy Spirit? What should we do? A clone is a Holy Spirit. If his main body comes, how should we deal with it?" Everyone looked at Yu, revealing a look of inquiry. Yu stood in place with a cautious expression. "The main body shouldn't come, otherwise it would have come just now. He's burning his origin power to forcibly raise his realm. I don't think it will last long. We only need to persist for an hour to defeat him," Yu said solemnly. Hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. "Senior Yu, please instruct us." "All right." Yu revealed a cautious look and began to command everyone. Everyone divided into different directions, looking at the white giant with a solemn face. They waited quietly, waiting for the chi waves on the white giant to disappear, and then launched a thunderous attack. Buzz! The chi waves on the white giant's body became weaker and gradually stopped. He floated in the sky, quietly closing his eyes, as if everything had nothing to do with him. "Attack!" A loud shout rang out. Immediately after, everyone moved together, and all kinds of unique skills blasted at the white giant. Buzz! The white giant suddenly opened his eyes, and 2 cold, killing intent burst out. Swish! His eyes swept, and 2 white rays of light burst out. Wherever it went, the unique skills broke apart one after another. All of everyone's moves collapsed. Puff, one by one, because of the backlash of power, their bodies flew out, vomiting blood. One blow, they were not lightly injured. Not good! Yu's face changed drastically, forcibly propped up his body, looked at the white giant and roared, "We are not a match for him, run!" This sound seemed to use up all the strength of Yu's body, directly shaking everyone's mind. Everyone woke up, forcibly pressed down the injuries on their bodies, took a step forward, and each of them used their escape method, preparing to escape. Escape! The white giant revealed a cold smile. Stretching out his palm, he waved it forward unhurriedly. Buzz! The heavens and the earth trembled, and a terrifying binding force instantly enveloped them. At this moment they exhausted all their methods and strength, but they still couldn't break free. Their bodies flew out uncontrollably and fell in front of the white giant. Hee, the white giant smiled coldly, and his monstrous anger was contained in it. A few ants of the Saint Realm also want to fight against the heavens? Today, I will let you experience the anger of the heavens. You and others are just sacrifices to the heavens. Everything is guided by you. Next, let's start with you. The white giant looked at Ingyu, stretched out his finger, and pointed forward. Ingyu's body flew out uncontrollably and fell into the hands of the white giant. Senior Ingyu. Everyone looked at Ingyu and shouted. Their eyes were full of despair. Don't worry about me, even if I die, the young master will avenge us. Ingyu said. Avenge? Ants also want to avenge the heavens? Die. After speaking, the white giant stretched out his palm and pressed it down at Ingyu. Chapter 596. It's over. Seeing the palm aimed at itself, Ingyu closed her eyes and waited quietly for death. However, after waiting for a while, she did not see the pain coming. She slowly opened her eyes and looked up. Her pupils shrank and her face was shocked. She saw. In front of her, a man in white stretched out a palm and blocked the big hand covering the sky. Compared with the big hand covering the sky, this finger was simply negligible. However, this finger was like a pillar supporting the sky, unshakable. It was none other than Sun Hao who made the move. Everyone's eyes were also fixed on Sun Hao, showing an incredible expression. Who is he? How is it possible to block the Holy Spirit's blow with a finger? I don't know, he looks so ordinary, I have never seen him before. How can such a character not be famous? Everyone opened their mouths wide and murmured for a long time without spitting out a word. Surprise was written all over everyone's face. In the crowd, Qin Shilua looked at this scene, and her eyes flickered with uncertainty. The corners of her mouth rose slightly, and after nodding, she calmed down. The white giant looked at Sun Hao with a face of disbelief. Humph! The white giant snorted coldly, and looked at Sun Hao as if looking at an ant. I'd like to see how a reptile like you can fight against the heavens. Die! A furious roar shook heaven and earth. Above the palm covering the sky, a dazzling white light lit up, illuminating the whole world. The terrifying power, like the Milky Way pouring down, all enveloped Sun Hao. However, there was no reaction. Sun Hao stood there, not even blinking his eyebrows, looking extremely calm. Such a scene directly stunned everyone in place, and their faces were full of disbelief. The Holy Spirit's full blow didn't even make his face change. Who is he? Ingyu looked at Sun Hao, his face changing, as if to see through Sun Hao, but he couldn't see through him at all. Such a powerful strength, he won't be the young master, right? Xiaofeng looked at Sun Hao, and in her eyes the light flickered. Young master? How is it possible? How did the young master come to demon ancestral realm? Xiaofeng kept shaking her head, showing a look of disbelief. Could it be that the young master really came? It's unlikely. However, no matter what, such a person is definitely not simple. Ning Mingji and others muttered to themselves, and all the worship swept to Sun Hao. Impossible! The white giant gritted his teeth and unleashed all of his power into his palm. However, he exhausted all his strength and couldn't shake a finger of Sun Hao. My turn. Sun Hao raised the corner of his mouth, stretched out his finger, and blasted it toward the big hand covering the sky. Kacha, the white light barrier that enveloped the sky-covering hand, immediately burst open. A terrifying force blasted onto the palm of the white giant. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out, causing everyone's ears to ring. The sky-covering hand crumbled into dust bit by bit, turning into light and shadow, vanishing without a trace. This scene caused the white giant to be dumbfounded. He stared blankly at his disappearing palm with a look of disbelief. A miserable shriek resounded throughout heaven and earth. The white giant held onto his missing arm and screamed in pain. On his body, waves of white light surged and rapidly healed his wounds. The palm that had disappeared regenerated at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, Sun Hao would not give him a chance to recover. With a step of his right leg, he disappeared instantly. When he appeared again, he had already arrived in front of the white giant's head. He turned his palm into a fist and blasted it at the white giant's eyeball. You dare! The words just fell. Boom! There was a loud noise. The white giant's left eyeball exploded directly. Ah! The earth-shattering scream resounded through heaven and earth again. Boom! There was another loud noise, and another eye of the white giant was blasted into powder by Sun Hao. He covered his eyes with his hands, showing a painful expression. At the moment he screamed, his chin was punched by Sun Hao again. In this way, the white giant's body was covered with wounds under Sun Hao's bombardment, and it was horrible to look at. Under Sun Hao's attack, the white giant had no chance to fight back at all. Everyone stared at this scene blankly, shocked to the extreme. God, the Son of Heaven was tortured by him and had no power to fight back? Dream, it must be a dream. How can there be such a character in this world? My ancestor is too ferocious, too terrible. Fortunately, he is not my enemy. Everyone muttered to themselves, and their hearts were hit by a stone hammer, and they could not calm down at all. Yao Jiutian was bound in midair. He looked at this scene, opened his mouth wide, and murmured for a long time without spitting out a word. Not far from him, Huang Yuli looked at Sun Hao, and her whole face changed. She looked at Sun Hao, secretly wiped a cold sweat, and her face was full of fear. Such terrifying strength, I'm afraid even the young master can't compare. Boom! The battle continued, and the white giant continued to be attacked by Sun Hao. The injuries on his body were already indescribable. Damn it! Damn ant! You have completely angered this seat. After these two sounds, the white giant's body shrank rapidly, and soon, it became the size of a normal person. The injuries on his body were all recovered. The terrifying recovery power rotated rapidly on his body. Boom! The white giant stepped out and disappeared instantly. Boom! He and Sun Hao fought together, and the two of them attacked wildly. Beside the two, the spherical wave of air shook out wildly. Wherever it went, the space was shattered inch by inch. A piece of space turbulence rushed out, enveloping the two of them. Wow! The spatial turbulence cut into the white giant's body, shredding it into pieces. However, his body's resilience was extremely terrifying, and soon, it recovered to its original state. His body was destroyed in the recovery, and repaired in the destruction. These space turbulence hit Sun Hao, but there was no reaction. Ding! On his body there was a burst of metal flames. The space turbulence could not hurt him at all. Boom! Sun Hao kept blasting on the white giant, blasting his body until it was distorted and deformed. The white giant's resilience was getting weaker and weaker. Damned worm, damned ant! Even if you kill this seat, when this seat comes, I will not spare you. Dare to fight against the heavens, you insects, all must die. The white giant was caught in Sun Hao's hand and let out a burst of roars. Die! The corner of Sun Hao's mouth raised, and he unhurriedly stretched out his fist, aiming at the white giant's head and blasted over. With this punch, Sun Hao exerted all his strength. The moment the fist just blasted out, the surrounding space quickly collapsed. The terrifying power was about to wrap the white giant. At this time, a sudden change occurred. Sun Hao's hair stood on end, and when he looked back, his face changed drastically, and he thought it was not good. Chapter 597. Die! Sun Hao raised his fist and blasted it down at the white giant. Qin Shilo looked at Sun Hao's fist, and the corners of her mouth rose slightly. Little guy, you can't ruin my good things because of you. This battlefield must be opened. Qin Shilua's eyes swept and stared directly at the two giant statues. Immediately, buzz, two vibrations sounded. The two giant statues brightened at a speed visible to the naked eye. one blue and one red, illuminating the whole world. Immediately afterward, buzz, heaven and earth trembled. A huge vortex shrouded the sky. A terrifying suction force spread from the vortex in all directions, enveloping everyone. Everyone's body flew out uncontrollably and was attracted into the vortex. Sun Hao sensed all the changes behind him, and his face changed dramatically. Looking back, his pupils also contracted. That terrifying suction force quickly shrouded him. His fist that was swung down was stuck in the air. The suction force pulled his body quickly into the vortex. Sun Hao struggled frantically, and blue veins popped up all over his body. It was like a bronze statue fixed on the ground, unable to move. In front of him, the white giant's body flew out uncontrollably and was sucked into the vortex. Soon, only Sun Hao and Qin Shiluo were left on the entire field. Qin Shiluo's body was like transparent, just standing there calmly, looking at Sun Hao seriously. Sun Hao roared and released the power of the soul space to fight against this suction force. However, it was still useless. In the face of this suction force, Sun Hao's struggle was futile. After he persisted for half an hour, Sun Hao was pulled into the vortex and disappeared above the sky. Qin Shiluo's body slowly condensed and formed. She looked at the vortex where everyone disappeared, and the corner of her mouth raised a faint smile. It's a little interesting, this little guy can actually resist for half an hour. It seems that I still underestimated him. However, this is interesting. I'm coming. Qin Shiluo stepped into the vortex. Buzz, the light flashed and the vortex returned to calm. The only things left standing were the two huge statues. Buzz, the scenery changed, and Sun Hao appeared in another world. Where is this? Sun Hao looked around with a blank face. They saw. There were mountains and rivers in this world, and the scenery was picturesque. It was indescribably beautiful. Sun Hao looked up and couldn't help but look startled. At this moment, he realized that there was a blue health bar above his head. This feeling was like a character in a game. Buzz, suddenly, the sky trembled. An invisible force enveloped his body. He controlled Sun Hao's body and walked forward. Sun Hao gritted his teeth and roared loudly. Madly resisting this invisible force, he succeeded. He didn't follow the instructions of that invisible force, not walking forward, but instead retreating. Holy shit! A cursing voice rang in his ears. What kind of lousy game is this? My character doesn't listen to me. I told him to move forward, but he actually moved backward. Are you serious? Is it because the network is so bad that you're stuck? We're on the same network. How can there be any difference? The conversation between the two rang in Sun Hao's ears. Listening to these familiar voices, Sun Hao frowned. Could it be that he was sent into the game? Driven by players? In fact, are people the same? What kind of existence is the person who made such a game? Isn't this too scary? Where did these players come from? Thinking like this, Sun Hao looked at the void and stared straight ahead. Look, this character is actually staring at me. It's too scary. I feel like he's conscious. Isn't this ancient war game too realistic? No, I feel like he's a living person. The two players stared blankly at Sun Hao in the game screen with a cold sweat on his forehead. At this time, you two, can you hear my voice? Sun Hao's voice directly scared the two of them. They directly dropped the game controller and stayed away from the game screen. After a long time, one of them calmed down slightly, looked at Sun Hao in the game screen, and said, I can hear you. Can you also hear what I said? Very soon. Yes. A resolute and decisive voice rang out. You two, tell me what game this is. Hearing this, the two of them breathed a sigh of relief. Ancient war. The two of them said in unison. Hearing the voices of the two, Sun Hao frowned secretly. Ancient war? This game didn't listen to them at all. Are they not Earthlings? Where are you located? Sun Hao asked. Jiang City. Not on Earth? Hearing this, the two players smiled and shook their heads. Of course, it's Earth. Where else can it be? What year is it now? 2055 AD. 2095. Sun Hao frowned. When he crossed over, it seemed to be 2020. Unexpectedly, more than 70 years had passed now. It seemed that the time on Earth was basically the same as the time he was in. It was normal that he had never heard of the game Ancient War. Tell me the rules of the game, Sun Hao said. Ancient War is a role-playing battle game. The game is mainly divided into two camps, namely the red and blue sides. The rule to win the game is to knock down the opponent's crystal tower. The two of them said one sentence at a time. When they heard Sun Hao's ears, they couldn't help but nod secretly. This game was similar to the King of Glory that he encountered in his previous life. The difference was that the character controlled by each player was a hero. Everyone had different skills and started to fight. Hundreds of thousands of people fought at the same time. The scene was like a big fight. I am also an Earthling, and I have also crossed over into the game. You two listen, just watch the battle. Don't tell anyone about this. Otherwise I will. After speaking, Sun Hao picked up a stone and held it gently. Gotcha! The stone shattered into powder. Sharp eyes stared at the screen at the same time. In the eyes of the two people, they trembled all over, revealing a look of horror. Yes, yes, Big Brother, we will not say it. Big Brother, we have told you all the rules of the game. Next, it's up to you. The two people's voices trembled, and they were afraid of Sun Hao. Very well, remember what you said, otherwise you will be like this cup. In Sun Hao's eyes, two murderous intentions suddenly flashed. The cup standing in front of the two people suddenly vibrated. Finally, boom, with a loud bang, the cup directly exploded and shattered into fine powder. This scene scared the two people out of their wits, and they were terrified. Sun Hao withdrew his gaze, and the corner of his mouth raised a faint smile. Then, he strode forward.